Howdy, friends and floor heads. It is Tuesday night and a long overdue second session of Limelight. And we're going to dive right in. Derek is going to kind of get us caught up and then we'll launch right into this. But someone's missing. So if you look to my left, you see Robert has gone MIA. We have not heard from Robert. We hope everything's okay. If Robert sneaks in here, we'll have him show up and appear out of nowhere with Fabian live and around. But Derek, maybe a quick recap where we are and where we're headed.
Sure. Yeah. So welcome back, everyone. So let's see. In the first episode, we kind of got to learn about our characters, about our heroes that are trying to start their own band and make it work, and make it big, become the next big thing. So we learned about Jake, who's the heart, and who the band is kind of his family, played by Craig. We learned about Lizzie, played by Amy, who is the songwriter. Who music is kind of everything to her, and it's her outlet. So super important for her from that aspect. We learned about Timothy, who is our spectacle. Music is this band thing is kind of a different outlet for Timothy, but it is a chance for Timothy to kind of be his best self in his most unique individual self. And we learned about Fabian, who played by Robert, and as we noted, he may not be able to join us tonight, but just as a recap, he's the intellect, and he was kind of the source of some of the problems that kicked off kind of the play of the game, because he had landed himself in detention on the day that you guys were trying to get to this battle of the bands, where you kind of see this opportunity to kind of really start making a name for yourself. He ended up kind of getting out of that by deferring that trouble to later. So kind of just told the vice principal to shove it and walk away. So in future episodes we may see how that worked out for him. With Jake and Amy ready to kind of drive away in the escape or the getaway car, loaded with all the band's equipment. In the
hoopty.
kind of what's that?
The hoopty.
Yes, the hoopty. In the kind of confusion around all of this, someone had pulled a fire alarm, and Timothy got separated from the rest of the band, or kind of ended up not going to the same part of the school that everyone else had been at, and he was able to catch his own ride to the community center with his best friend, Christopher.
Quotation marks, right?
So Christopher is kind of an annoyance to Timothy, always hanging around, kind of a hanger-on, and wants to be in on this band thing and whatever Timothy's doing, to the utter dismay of Timothy. But in this case, there was able to bail him out of a situation. So so that was kind of the first couple scenes, and then on the way to the venue with the rest of the band, other than Timothy, together in the car, there was a little bit of a conversation between Jake and Lizzie about music and about what the power of songwriting is, and it was kind of Lizzie kind of trying to mentor Jake a little bit. She did a change called Build Loyalty, which gave her the opportunity to increase her loyal stat, but chose instead for the long game to undo that shift in order to take an obligation, which will pay off in the future, as obligations are how you ultimately get advancement in the game. So we kind of cut it there, and with everyone kind of we can kind of start with everyone getting to or being at the community center. We can kind of cut to there. And we have 2 more scenes before the actual performance happens. So just as a reminder, in this game, the kind of currency of the fiction is scenes. So there are a certain number of scenes that you have to play before each performance. Once you run out of scenes, the performance is here, whether you like it or not. Time marches on. So you want to do as much preparation, and that portion of the game is actually called the preparation. So you want to do as much preparation as you can to be ready to do the best that you can during the performance, where you're going to want to earn a certain number of performance points, and in order to win the performance, and ultimately earn enough renown so that you can win the game. So this game does have, after 3 performances, it does have a win or loss condition. So if you earn enough renown and you win that last performance, you win the game, which means you made it. You made it big. And kind of what that means and what that looks like will be dictated a little bit by the fiction that we've all established at the table, of course. And if you don't, you don't win. You don't make it big. And what that means also would be dictated a little bit by kind of how the fiction we've established points things. So anything that anybody feels like I needed to add in or not forget, and that I did forget, or anything?
No, I think it was a good recap.
Okay. Any questions or anything about stuff you don't quite remember? All right. Awesome. All right. So I think we can just jump straight into the community center. And what we see here, kind of probably the opening establishing shot of this episode of the TV show, if this were one, kind of zooms into this kind of older building. Maybe it's a little rundown, but it's got signage out front. It's the town community center, and they've got one of those marquee boards out front with the letters on it, and somebody on probably not today. It's probably been fixed, but any given day you drive by, you probably see somebody's rearranged words to try to be funny or whatever, as teenagers do. But it's got the upcoming events, and the big deal is that today's this kind of town festival event. So there's this week-long event coming up because it's the town's 350th anniversary, and this is kind of one of the first events kind of leading into it. It's not really part of it, but it's kind of part of it, and it's this battle of the bands. So there's a number of local bands of all different kinds who've gotten together to participate in this battle of the bands, and whoever wins this gets to actually open for the big name closer. There's a big concert coming up next weekend, and this gets some local, whoever wins, a chance to kind of open for somebody it's kind of a bigger name, and there will be a huge crowd for that. So that's kind of the stakes that everybody's shooting for here. So as we zoom in, we see there's kind of a crowd of people around. There isn't a lot of people that I would call like concert goers, because it's a Friday afternoon. It's people are still working, commuting, all of that kind of stuff. But there are some people who made it a point to come out. Mostly it's people affiliated with the various bands who are participating. There's kind of a judges table set up, with the cloth draping, and a few judges behind little placards with their names on them, and they're kind of marshaling people through. And you guys actually have the first spot. You're the first ones to go up on stage, and I think we said you're scheduled for 4:00. So you need to go get signed in, and that's not an issue. We don't need to make a scene out of these things unless there's something you guys want to do specifically. But you'll need to get some.
Real quick question: has Timothy shown up?
Yeah, I think by this point, Timothy
Okay.
and Christopher have shown up.
All right, good.
They may have actually, I don't know, the timey-wiminess of the last game at the end was a little weird. Like, so they may actually have gotten there before you because I think they were already on the road before you realized that they were on the road. So yeah, they're definitely there.
Good.
Um, so you have 2 scenes left. You can use those scenes to attack your issues by trying to clear obligations that you have. If you get too many obligations all at once, it can cause you some trouble, and it can kind of somewhat hurt your character. And the mechanically, the way that looks, it actually might help your character, the first one. But if you take too many of those, you will eventually leave the band. It makes you unable to continue to work with the band.
Can't focus on the band, right?
Yeah. But as I kind of said from last episode, Lizzie chose to take an obligation, and part of that can feed into once you have a couple obligations on any given issue, the band recognizes that there's this thing hanging out there that's stopping you from really like giving your all to the band, and they can challenge you on that issue. So kind of it's one of the more classic like rock bands that we can all, I'm not going to name any names, but the meddling girlfriend of the rocker who is getting in the way of the band can say, look, you got to take care of this can't keep happening, it's going, one way or another this has to be fixed.
Yeah.
So they can challenge them on that issue, and then once you have an issue challenged, you can clear all the obligations on that issue, and then you can resolve that issue. And basically what that means is that fictionally and mechanically within the game, that issue will never become a problem for you again. It doesn't mean that you don't have a girlfriend anymore, and it just means that whatever you've done, you've built that bridge, and you've figured out this is how it's going to work from here on out, and it's not a problem, and here's why, and then it's never a problem again. And whenever you resolve an issue, that's an advancement. So that's when you will get to quote unquote level up your character. Okay. So
quick question, because you mentioned it. So you said that Amy has a marked obligation. Could you do me a favor and remind me it's one marked obligation and what's the issue that it is? Either one of you guys.
I'm sorry, I missed the last part of your question.
What issue is it marked in?
Yeah, Amy has a marked obligation, you said?
She marked an obligation to do with her issue that she doesn't think Jake understands the emotional resonance of the music that she writes. So she wants to involve Jake in her process more. So it's her issue related to the band, specifically related to Jake, that she marked it an obligation.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thanks.
All right, so let's talk scenes. Do we establish what the scenes are? Do you establish that? How does that work?
You guys establish your scenes, and the way that works is you can kind of discuss amongst yourself. Theoretically, there's an equal number of scenes per players in the first, or some that you can share. So you can say, well, I want my scene to be this, but they don't actually belong to anybody. So if everybody agrees, like, we want to give extra scenes to this character because we want to see what happens, that's fine. You can be in each other's scenes. They're not all one-on-one type scenes. But you want to go into that scene with kind of an idea of what you're trying to attack, and then we'll see how it plays out.
So I guess my first thought, depending on how the two of you think, is I think we're signed in. We've got that nervous jitters. We go on in 30 minutes. And I have taken upon myself to put together a 3-song set list. And I want to present it to the two of you for validation, and for hopefully you're going to love it and think that I'm just the greatest because I picked these songs. So I think we need to figure out what we're going to play. How do we feel about that, Lizzie and Timmy?
Jake, this is perfect.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I didn't know which one we wanted to do first, because I know you like roses are blue, and so am I. I know that's a favorite, but I think that's a better one. That's better. Timothy, what do you think? Do you think this is good?
Before I say something, Derek has a.
Yeah,
Oh,
before
yeah.
we get too into it, if everybody agrees that this is the scene that we want to do, absolutely, I do want to see this because I think it's good. But I think we the last piece is we do kind of want to determine what it is that we're trying to attack here, and it sounds like you may be wanting to build loyalty, which is a good idea to do because your loyalty die is going to play heavily into the performance. So the better die you have there, the better you're probably going to do in the performance. But it doesn't have to be that. It can be any number of other things. But we do want to kind of at least have that intent nailed down before we jump into.
Sure. Sure. So Timothy, what do you think our intent would be?
It sounds like that I agree with Derek that your intent by talking about the set list is to attempt to build loyalty between the band members. I think Timothy, if we do this scene, I have an idea. I don't want to play the scene before we play the scene is what it comes down to.
Let's do it.
But that's great that we have an idea of which change that we want to attack in order to be able to try to up our resources. So you asked me, right, what it was I thought.
Yeah, so I imagine the crumpled sheet of paper. I've got the 3 songs on there. You see erasure marks where I've obviously like changed. There's only 3 songs, but I've changed it like 8 times.
Right. You know, this would have been a good idea if we had discussed this ahead of time because we're first.
No, you're 100% right.
Don't yell at him.
You're 100% right, Timothy. You're 100% right. And I had an early draft of it. But you know, the whole thing at the school and just didn't get a chance to show it to you. And then we were driving and I changed it like 3 more times and, you know, but it's not set in stone. Like you can see, I did it in pencil. So if we want to switch these, Lizzie, I mean, like I'm not married to this.
I am visibly as well as internally frustrated by this, especially because I'm of the belief that if we hadn't had this whole detention problem, we might have been able to sort this out before we happened to get here.
If you'd have met us at the
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, no. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought you had reached an
Oh, no, sorry.
Please continue. Please continue.
Yeah, exactly. So this is making me uncomfortable because at this point, I would actually rather do something else because I know that the first band or performer in any sort of thing like this is at a complete disadvantage as opposed to coming later. Because what usually happens is that bands that come later just get that advantage by the judges seeing everybody that came beforehand, and then they can judge against that. So I'm kind of curious to be able to figure out what exactly is it that I'm looking for here. I apologize. I want to take a look at my notes for a second. What's Jake thinking really by bringing this up? I know that he's a little flustered and he's kind of talking about, you know, what his reasons are, but since I don't agree with it and I'm really concerned about this, I'm curious to be able to see if I could figure out a little bit more of exactly what Jake is thinking by bringing this up instead of doing something that I think would be more advantageous to us.
Are you trying to ascertain his disposition?
I am.
Okay. So this is a change that exists in the game to allow the player to interrogate the fiction and find out more than so the player can know what their character is much more able to know because they're actually there and we're just talking about being there. So yeah, that's if you want to do that, I think you're making it uncomfortable. This situation, so you can definitely definitely.
I mean, I'm already uncomfortable because of what happened, and now I'm extra uncomfortable because it's like, why are we wasting time talking about this now? We should just get on the stage and do it.
Yeah. So the trigger is the interaction's uncomfortable, so you're definitely the one making it uncomfortable, which is fine. So if you want to do that, you can definitely do so.
Yep,
It's a
absolutely.
keen roll, so you're going to roll keen.
I believe my keen
And
is
remember in this game,
-2.
everything's backwards, everything's upside down. So you want to roll what?
So I believe it is 2d6 -2. Yep. Sound good?
Yep. And you
Awesome.
in the roller. Yep. There you go. You got it.
Oh.
Very nice.
-2. Wow. That's almost as good as you can get. Okay,
Awesome.
so the way this, just to read this aloud for anybody watching. So ascertain their disposition says, when you study someone in an uncomfortable interaction, roll keen. On a 4-, which is what you got, you get to hold 3. And while you're interacting with them, you can spend your hold to ask the questions one for one. So the questions you can ask are: is your character telling the truth? What is your character really feeling? What does your character intend to do? What does your character wish I'd do? And how could I get your character to blank? So you can ask up to 3 of those questions throughout this interaction.
Cool.
Thanks to your roll.
So while we started doing this and I started laying a little bit to probably, at least from my point of view, I'm doing it on purpose, leaning in a bit hard into you, I'm curious to know what would you like me to do? What do you wish that I would do?
What Jake wants you to give a shit. Yeah, I want you to care about this. And for 2 reasons. One, because it's the band, right? It's about us as a group. It's not about Timothy. It's about first things first. And I would like some validation for, taking the initiative. Nobody else put together a song list. I did. And I think I kept it to myself just in case, because if somebody else said, here's the set list, I would have kept it to myself. But we're now, minutes away and no one else has done it. So I did it. And I hope that matters to you.
Gotcha. Cool.
Just to clarify, ask my BA questions. I do assume that this isn't some off the wall set list of songs you've never rehearsed before.
Oh no. Yeah.
So they are known quantities, at least to some degree. You've practiced them. Everybody knows how to play them. Cool.
In my imagination, and it doesn't make it real. In my imagination, like Lizzie's written like 15 songs.
Yeah.
We've played like 10 of them, but we would only dare maybe do like 5 in front of anybody else. So
Okay.
yeah, in my mind, this has been pretty close. It's not a huge. None of this should be a surprise.
Cool. So as you're explaining this to me, I'm getting that feeling by watching your body language, especially looking at your face as you're communicating with me. So I take a second, take a deep breath and relax. And then I say, look, I appreciate the fact that you've gone and done this. The fact of the matter is, it's not your fault. We would have been perfectly fine if somebody wasn't in detention. And then we would have gotten this all straightened out ahead of time. I'm just a little bit frustrated by that happening, and exactly the method, if you know what I'm talking about, with regards to how the heck I had to get here. You're right. It's a good idea that we don't just freaking try to do whatever, and then we're all over the place, especially as the first people to perform, and then we just end up sounding like shit. So Lizzie, do you think that you got this? What songs we're doing here? Your voice all warmed up?
Not yet. Which one are we doing? Am I singing? We take turns singing. This isn't on just me. Why?
No, Lizzie, these songs.
What are we
you're the
doing?
one-
What song do you want to do? I can't. I don't know. I can't do this.
I know,
can't.
Lizzie. These are all your words.
Can't do it.
You've got this. Which one is the easiest one for you to ease into?
I don't do easy.
Roses are red, but I feel blue.
We can start with that one.
Okay. All right. Let's start with that one.
Okay.
And then, and which of the? How about the? What about you want this one as the second song?
Yeah, we'll do "Mercy" as the second song.
Perfect. And then we'll close with. What do you think we should? What's the closer, Timothy?
What are we closing with, Timothy?
You know, it doesn't really matter to me. I could do all of these songs with no problem and make them great. So whatever you guys are comfortable with, I'm gonna be fine.
For a second there, I thought we had a song. It doesn't matter to me. Oh, I got scared for a second.
I actually just, and I'll like reach in my bag and pull out a song. It's called It Doesn't Matter to Me. We could, I mean,
All right.
next time. After we win, then we'll plan it for next weekend.
Perfect.
I want to spend another one of my hold now.
Yep.
So I would like to ask, how could I get Craig's character to wrap this up so that we can actually get much closer to being able to get there on the stage?
Well, I'm actually
Start
about to
set.
start like tuning my guitar. And like I'm just gonna start warming it up, doing some chords, picking a little bit, and humming a little under my breath, and close my eyes and kind of sink into the music of it.
Yeah, Timothy, I can be redirected very easily. So I think what I wanted is accomplished, which is I wanted us to have a set list. I wanted us
Gotcha.
to get where we are right now. So I am good.
Cool.
Yeah, we can hear you. I'm just give me 1 second, Robert. I'll bring you in. All good, my friend. We're just happy you're here.
Yay.
All right. You are on screen. Fabian is here.
Hey.
So Fabian, we are at the community center. We are first. We did one of our 2 scenes, and it was Timothy, Lizzie, and I deciding on a set list that I spent all kinds of time and effort putting together. I think I've gained agreement with Timothy and Lizzie on this. I think Lizzie seems a little nervous about singing. Timothy's being a pain in the ass because he's Timothy.
Well, and I've got ideas of how to make sure that she's much less nervous and not worried about this anymore.
All right. So I think that's where we are.
Just drama all the time.
So you did say that we played the scene, and we are getting very close to the end of the scene. If Greg is done asking questions from his change.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that. So
Okay,
I don't feel the overly strong need to spend my time with it.
Okay, so but I don't want you to have this scene with no payoff. So there are actually kind of 2 ways.
It's okay. Keep going.
Okay, there are actually kind of 2 ways that this scene could pay off for you. One of you could be trying to build loyalty, which is how you improve your own loyalty stat. So any of you could have been doing this throughout this scene. You can make that change to try to improve your loyalty. The other thing that you could have been doing is you could have been trying to acquire flair. So flair is kind of a resource that you'll be able to spend to improve dice rolls. Each flair improves by 1. So either of these could be the mechanical result of what this scene kind of did. And it's kind of up to you to decide which way to go. Craig, it was kind of your idea for the scene. So I'm going to say it's your scene. So you decide.
I like the idea of flair if everybody's good with that.
Yeah, it's great because it can actually be used in the performance in order to improve our performance there. So
Beautiful.
That sounds like a good idea.
So this is going to be a spark roll for you.
Okay.
So
my spark is -1.
That's good.
So
Remember, low is good.
That's good.
2d6 -1. And I'm not as good as Timmy, so I got a big old 7.
All right, that's a partial. So I'll read it. It's the first time we're seeing it on screen, so I'll read it aloud for those following along at home. Acquire flair. When you set a scene that will help you to perform, which this definitely qualifies, at the end of the scene will spark to acquire flair. On a 4-, you've done a darn fine job of expressing yourself. Acquire 3 flair. On a 5 to 7, you've done the bare minimum. Acquire 1 flair.
Okay.
On a fail, the BA changes the narrative. It's a giant wink in there for anybody who catches it. But
So hooray, you get flair. You'll notice there's a spot in the upper left-hand corner of your character
Yep.
sheet where you can.
I got it marked.
That'll belong to you. You'll be the one to use it. So that's one scene. We have one scene to go before.
I think we should make it a rehearsal scene. I think we should warm up.
Oh, you want to like go warm up, like find a back room?
Is there a
something?
spot? Is there a spot in the back where we could do this?
We could just
I'm
step
sure you
away.
can find some spot. Like it's not going to be ideal. The acoustics aren't going to be great, but
Right.
you probably
just
won't be
warm
the
up
only one
together.
there, so it might be hard to fully hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Greg?
we got you.
Okay.
Mhm.
I thought Greg was having trouble with his headphones.
Oh no, sorry.
There might be other bands also warming up on the loading dock or whatever out back. But yeah, you guys can go find a spot for that.
Okay. Is
So
everybody
we have
on
to
board with
establish a
that?
goal. What happens now?
I mean, is it the same kind of thing? You're just generally trying to like prepare. We can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Could be another form.
Whatever will help us with a
Mhm.
performance on like a flare or a spark or something like that.
Flare would help. And just to be clear, for most of these things, you can kind of double, like you can do more than one thing in a scene, but the scene needs to be about a specific thing. So if during that scene something else happens, that could cause a loyalty shift, or it could cause any other things. But there needs.
Okay.
But yeah, if your whole point is to just go like prep for this performance, then absolutely. Tell me kind of what that looks like. Who wants to own this scene?
I think
I'll
Lizzie
do
should
it.
own it.
Sounds like
Yeah.
I agree.
That's fine. I'm just gonna kind of gather everybody up and just like hit a couple of chords on my guitar and have everybody do a little vocal warm up, and then we'll do just a quick little like acoustic jam of like the first like the first bar and then the chorus and then the refrain, and we'll just wrap it right there, and then we'll do the intro to the next couple of songs. And then after we've kind of like rehearsed together and we kind of are doing our own little private warm-ups, I'm gonna reach out to Jake and use my make a connection, my key change.
Excellent. Yes, using your key change from your bio. Do you mind reading that for the audience at home?
I don't. It says, whenever you use your musical talents to make a connection with others, roll spark on a 4 minus all 3 on a 5 through 7. Pick 2, and the options are earn 1 renown, earn 3 flair, shift your loyalty right, and choose another stat to shift left. On a fail, mark an obligation related to this character.
Nice.
Sounds like a win-win to me. For you especially, whether you pass the roll or not, it's going to be good.
So Lizzie, I think you're finding me. I'm maybe sitting on a crate, like in this loading dock, right? And I've got this beat up old bass of mine, and I'm just focused, looking down, just practicing the same bass line over and over again. Thank God the bass lines in your songs are easy, but they're not easy for me.
I'm gonna come and kind of sit cross-legged down next to you. I'm just gonna go, hey. I'm freaking out a little bit. I'm freaking out just.
Me too, Lizzie. Yeah.
I'm freaking out.
In fact, I think I've got enough freak out for both of us. So, if you could freak out less, I think that'd be good.
I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Okay. What if I promise to get us all ice cream when this is over?
I do like ice cream.
And you get to pick where, and we will make Timothy drive separate, and we can do that. Would that help at all? Like clear your nerves? I don't know, Fabian, how do you like go before performances? How do you chill out before performances?
I'm usually pretty much not nervous when it comes to stuff like this. So
which is why I'm turning to you.
I'm just like watching everybody, and I tap my sticks around and just kind of go over the songs in my head that we're gonna do.
How about you, Timothy? Like, you've been in bands before, man. This is like your thing. How do you stay so cool?
There's only one way to solve this problem. You ready? I don't care what
Yeah.
they say. I walk out into the hallway and I yell down the hallway, "Hey, does anyone want to take a minute and to check out what's going to be the best fucking band that's going to be playing in the next, say,
What is he
5-10 minutes?"
What is he doing?
Well, we don't even have I don't even have my amp, Timothy.
What is he doing?
I don't know. I don't know. We
Am I able to grab anybody's attention?
I think he's trying to promote us.
I think you.
I am going to grab Jake's hand and fuck off somewhere else. I don't know where else, but somewhere else. I'm just gonna disappear with Jake.
So I think we have a couple of people doing their key change right now.
I'm
which is
trying
awesome.
to get to mine.
We haven't even gotten to yours yet. Hold on a second. Let me see if these are nested or if you should go ahead and do yours first. Yeah, I know. I'm not sure that you guys have done the music stuff yet enough to trigger your change, but someone is power gaming this thing, and it's definitely so that message immediately starts getting repeated by your biggest groupie, your firstie. Christopher's right nearby, and he starts like just funneling people like, "Yeah, everybody come see. First things first, warm up."
It's the only way to get around this whole problem of stage fright is to mimic what the hell we're going to do in the next 10 minutes. So
I'm gone.
Here's your audience, guys. I speak to the audience that's gathering there. What you're
Lizzie,
see
I'm
right
trying
here,
to keep you in the room.
blow you away.
It's just Fabian.
Hit it, Lizzie. And I point to her with my drumsticks.
Go ahead and
I'm not there.
Is she not there?
I think I'm gonna have you go ahead and roll it because you're doing that right now, right? Because your change triggers when you wish a group of people to notice you.
Yeah.
So you're doing that, like. So.
Yes. I'm definitely my aim here is because we're first things first. We're first in a number of ways.
Right.
I'm trying to get whoever's in the area interested and start some buzz before we even get to the stage, so that we've got as much chance as possible of being remembered by the judges, even though there's going to be a lot of bands that are going to come after us. And I figured the best way to do that is to just draw attention to me, and then that should draw attention to the band as well. Cool. So I roll edge. My edge is -2.
Amy loves it. Lizzie hates it.
Well, I also said, according to one of my issues, that I'm going to drag you into the drama vortex. So,
I know.
No better way than
just watched it.
Than this.
Ooh, you are a machine.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, we all know how luck works. We'll see what happens an hour from now.
Yeah, when it matters, he'll start rolling.
Exactly.
I mean, he's good. He's good at role-playing games. So.
He's good at RPGs.
Okay, so that's a full success. So people, the like waves of people talking about this, like, look, it's not like there's hundreds of people here, but there are dozens of people here, and most of them are at some level interested in music, right? Because like I said, they're the friends and family members and close acquaintances of somebody that's here to perform today. So they care about music. So the kind of like murmur that starts to like reverberate through the crowd, and people start like pushing into this like hallway that leads back to this like loading dock area where you guys have kind of found a spot to kind of see what it's all about. for whatever reason. Maybe it's just to kind of get a feel for, is this band actually a competition for my husband's band or my whatever. So you're gonna gain the rest of this is probably going to happen later. So this is going to become kind of a legendary or exaggerated status type thing in the future. Like, there's this band, it's a bunch of kids, they're talented, they're confident, and like word is going to get around about you. They don't know, all they see is this group, right? They don't see each individual person or your particular stage fright. So this is going to be a big stunt that people are going to remember. Like, wow, this was something nobody thought of, but they probably should have, right? Because it is going to do at least that for you. You're going to gain a renown right now, which is awesome. Renown is victory points for the end of the game.
Nice.
We're 1/20th of the way there now to winning.
They're also spendable throughout the game for other stuff if you need to. And you're going to get -1 forward to your next roll.
Nice.
As long as it takes advantage of this situation.
Right. Probably after the performance is when I guess that I will use it, because it will probably come back in some way later, or at least I hope so.
Yep.
And take advantage there.
So I'm going to just quickly run to you, Lizzie, and just say, hey, look, he's just trying to help. Let's go out there.
No,
Close your eyes.
No.
Trial by
Close your
fire.
eyes.
I have to walk. Don't make me do this.
Christopher comes over. He's like, I brought everybody. It's going to be great.
Christopher, buddy, you're not helping, buddy. You're not helping.
For once, he's totally helping.
Lizzie,
No.
Lizzie,
Good job.
What's the problem?
You got this. You know this.
It's the same people that are going to be out there when you go on, except none of the judges. There's no stakes here. This is great.
There's all the stakes here. This is the first time that we're being heard by anybody.
You got
Anybody. This is
I've
the
heard
very
you.
first
I
time.
heard you play. You guys are great.
Yeah, but
We've
you're
heard
you.
each other. We're good.
Sure.
What does that mean?
Because you're you. You're one of us. You're just around.
Really?
Yeah. Duh.
Yeah.
I kind of
Okay.
nudge the kind of
Don't
like
worry.
the
You
buddy
guys are
elbow
great. There's
into
nothing to be
Chris.
worried about.
Okay. Sing,
like that.
eyes closed. You can play eyes closed.
No, I
Let's
can't.
do it. Let's do it. You got this.
Okay. I will listen to the puppies. I love them.
Puppies want you to go. Listen to the crowd.
They want to sing too. All right, I'm gonna pick up my guitar, and I'm gonna glare at Timothy, and then I'm gonna glance back at Fabian.
Is there possibly a coerce roll in here? I'm just throwing out a possibility.
And I'm gonna look
Oh,
at Jake, and I'm
coerce.
gonna
Yeah, anyway.
soften a little bit in the face, and I'm gonna go, okay, well, this is the song that my grandma used to sing when I was sad or upset or scared. So let's give it a go. And I'll play just a sweet little, slightly Celtic, lilting kind of thing. And I will use that to try to make the connection with Jake, to make him feel the music. This is my story. This is part of who I am.
And Lizzie, I realize, this is not the first song on the set list, and I am glued at your fingers, trying to pick up what key it is, and you can just see me trying to play along, trying to come in as the bass here as you start to play.
I'll try to get Fabian in with the little, the brush things on the snare. I don't know shit about drums.
Yeah.
What's your character
That's what
does,
we'll
so
call it.
Yeah,
Character
those
problem.
things, little brushy things.
Yeah, I definitely Fabian and Jake are following your lead.
Yeah, and Timothy
we'll-
would be doing the same as well because he's internally going, yeah, this is what we needed to see.
Yeah, and I am gonna like relax into it once the song starts. But it just kind of like you can visibly see kind of the tension drain out of her as she's now coming back into really like her first exposure to music.
Awesome. That's great. And that, I think, is going to trigger your key change.
Yes.
Can I collaborate on this role?
Spark.
You can. How do you help? I mean, you can probably tell me you already have helped by making it happen, but...
Right. So I am pleasantly surprised that she's taken my bait and gone along with it. So, and that's why I am definitely doing
you.
my. That's how I feel, anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how my character feels. So I'm definitely giving her encouragement by, I'm normally the keyboard player, right? But I probably know something about every kind of little instrument. So I'm adding a little percussion with wherever it is that I'm sitting and standing. So if there's something in front of me, I'd be playing along there. If I'm against the wall, doing that and making sure to have eye contact with her, but gentle eye contact, not this, intense thing, but it's more of a positive reassurance as well, because he really does want the entire band to be able to rise to the occasion. So that's how I'm collaborating.
I think that sounds awesome to me. I don't know how Lizzie will take it, but me as a viewer of this is like, okay, we get to see Timothy isn't just all brash and no like heart. No, not to steal your bio's title, but he does have a soul. He has, like true desire to be here and to support and to be part of this. And I think he's showing that through this scene that we see. So yeah, that definitely qualifies as help, as collaborate. All right.
Does that do we both roll together on that?
Yeah, I mean, again, if we're at a real table, he would hand you a die of his color from his dice set, of his loyalty die type. But in this case, either you can roll his as a secondary roll, or he can roll it, or whatever.
You can roll
probably
it.
just do she could just do a roll 2d6 plus 1d8, right?
Yeah, is your loyalty die in d8?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so he's handing you a d8 to add to your die, or to add to your roll. It's not a great die, but it can't make things work. So
I
It's an
roll
awesome
2d6s and a d8.
yeah, 2d6, 1d8.
Yes.
I don't
So
know.
would that make the number higher?
But you're going to use the lowest two. So we're actually going to look at what they each roll independently. I don't know if the rolls are well enough to tell it to take the lowest two. Maybe Craig knows.
No, we'll just look at it, which is fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do them separate. So let's do the 2d6 and we'll see what those two are.
And I'm rolling with Spark, which I have a -2.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
There we go.
All right. Oh, look at that 1, 1, 2.
Zero. You rolled a 0. That's just like amazing. That's great. So the D8 did show up as a 1. We'll resolve that in a second, but let's go ahead and finish resolving your key change. So you get, I think, I need a better organization system. I keep turning to the wrong page. So you get 2 off of the list. So which 2 do you want?
Look at my list. What does the renown do?
Renown is ultimately the victory points. You're gonna try to earn some renown by winning the performance, and you need 20 renown by the end of the game to win the game. But you can also spend them for other changes throughout the game as well, to do other things. So renown is definitely good. Flair is going to help you Flare you can carry over, so you can use it in the performance. If you have, you can also use it in the preparation, the next preparation, if you need to improve dice rolls by one pip basically per flare spend. And then
Doesn't it say on a 4- you get all 3?
Oh, sorry, all 3. You're right. You get all 3, so you don't even need to make a choice. I don't know how to read.
That's okay. No.
Very nice.
So these things
Yes.
you get all 3. So you get a renown, a flare, and
I'm gonna mark that somewhere.
Cool. Good job.
Renown.
So the renown is for the entire band. We have that pooled, and any of us can decide to use it during a change. And the flare is specifically yours. You decide when you want to use it. If you use it in the performance, it can change the result by 1, improve by 1, value of 1. And if you use it in the preparation, it will allow you to re-roll it.
Awesome.
Right.
All right. Well, I'm going to shift my loyalty to the right, which changes my loyalty die type. So that'll take me to a D6 instead of a D8. Yeah.
Awesome.
My loyal went from a 0 to a -1.
-1.
And then I'm going to shift my edge left because she had kind of a vulnerable little moment.
Okay.
And I feel like that kind of takes away from kind of that harder perception of her.
She feels less hard, right? She feels more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so stats are kind of funny. They're both
more.
things, right? They're both how people perceive you, but also how you perceive yourself to some degree.
Right.
So they kind of reflect both at the same time. So that's awesome. I like that a lot. Okay, so that's all 3 of your things, right? You marked that you got flare and yep. Okay. So
3
we also have
flares.
Yes. And we also had a successful collaborate. So the way this works is, and we talked about it a little bit in the last game, but based on how you collaborate, it's going to affect your loyalty. If you collaborate successfully, kind of paradoxically, your loyalty is going to get a little worse because it represents like that pool, that like tank, that fuel tank of you being helpful and outgoing and loyal to the band is being used up because they're relying on you for things. And then you'll have to do other things to kind of move that back. If you fail to help with your collaborate roll, like if your die isn't used as part of the summation, that pushes your loyal to the right. You become more loyal to the band because you see like, I tried to help and it wasn't enough. So that's that like fueling yourself to try harder in the future, right? To become more loyal in the future. So that's kind of what it represents. So in this case, you, Timothy, are going to shift your loyal to the left, and you get to choose.
So my die was definitely, it went so fast I didn't get to see it.
It was a 1 and a 2 on the 6s and a 1 on the 8.
Yep, and in
so
the lower
it was
left-hand
a 1. Okay, so yeah, it definitely improved her. Cool.
Yep, and what you guys can always do is in the lower left-hand corner on the chat, there you can hit detail, and it'll show you what each die was.
Excellent. So though, that's crazy. That what were they? They were 1, 2, and 1.
It worked.
And mine was a 1. So cool.
Yes.
So you get to choose the stat that shifts to the right. In this case, if you fail, I choose the other stat that moves. So that's the other thing that happens. If you fail to collaborate properly as the BA, I get to choose which of your other stats is effective.
Gotcha.
Right. So if I was to let this change happen, I think that I would. Which one would I do? Good question. I think that it would be Spark.
I was going to say, I think maybe your smooth will goes up.
You were thinking smooth.
Because that's kind of how you were connecting.
Right.
But
the other thing I was thinking about was Spark, because it was sort of a quick on the fly thing that I was thinking about as well. But I think But I think at this point, I'm feeling more loyal to the band at this point, based on this, especially the scene before and this scene now,
So you're going
and
to
the fact that she
devotion.
went with it. So I think that I'm going to invoke devotion and undo the shift.
Okay. Yeah. So if it had moved, it would have been spark, is what you're saying, but you undid the
Yes.
shift with devotion. So that's always a player's choice. You can undo the shift. In the case where one of your stats would shift kind of off the end of its scale and it can't shift, you immediately take an obligation.
Got it.
There's no undoing it. But in this case, it can shift, but then he shifts it back. So it's voluntarily taking an obligation. So which obligation is it for one of your current issues? Probably.
So my third issue relates specifically to Lizzie and how she's uncomfortable with my antics, and because of that, I'm going to make it worse by dragging her into my drama vortex. So I think that this is exactly that.
Yeah.
So it shows that there's an escalation between us based on this issue, and if it keeps happening, then it comes to an head. And
Yep.
you can challenge
Perfect.
me to deal with it.
That's your first marked up?
It is.
Awesome. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to add before we close this scene?
I do. If I successfully did that obligation with Jake, does that come off my obligations?
So there's a change for that.
Stay.
It takes the whole scene. Like that does
Got
have to
it.
be the purpose of the scene. And you
Got
can
it.
only do one obligation per scene.
No, that's awesome. Thank you.
So cool. I think that was a very productive scene. A lot of stuff happened there. Good
real.
drama.
We crammed it into one scene.
Yeah, we made it work. Like I said, there's no, generally speaking, there's not a hard limit on what you can try to accomplish in a scene as long as it makes sense fictionally and kind of all happens together. So this is a case where you kind of dovetailed your key changes together. So I think that's good. All right, so that's our last scene before the performance. So basically,
I know.
you're being, kind of, you got your 2-minute warning that, or whatever, you got your 5-minute warning, and then, kind of throw your stuff on the stage, and now your 2-minute warning to actually start. So we are going into the performance.
All right. We'll probably, if that's okay, Derek. Let's take a quick 10-minute break before the performance and grab it on the other side.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Sounds good to
All
me.
We'll be back in 10. right. It is time for our big performance. So we kind of changed here. So with this game, we have kind of a play mat. Now, normally when we'd be playing this around the table, we would literally have this displayed in front of us. We'd be putting die on top of it to kind of mark things. We're doing this through VTT. We're using the Foundry. We're going to do it with tokens, but still you're going to get, the idea. And this is where, if you've heard me talk about this game, if you saw the interview with Greg and Derek that we did on Tabletop Talk, or listen to that interview, you know that we've got some kind of neat kind of board game type mechanics that are going to now be part of this performance phase. So Derek, let's do this.
All right. So as you said, this is our performance playmat. So it's kind of broken up into a couple of different pieces. We'll talk about them kind of around the horn here. So in the top left, we have our crowd intensity and act tracker. So every performance is played over a series of 3 acts. You'll see that there's a 4th act there in gray that is potentially unlockable based on the bios in play. That might be a special thing that someone can unlock, but for generally speaking, it's going to be in those white boxes, 3 acts. And we're tracking across the act the various intensity, the crowd intensity that you're getting the feedback from the people listening. And that ranges from 1 to 3 or bored to excited. Or bored to enthusiastic. My apologies. With excited being in the middle. So that's kind of what we're tracking in that top left box. In the top center is our stage presence tracker. So in each act of the performance, the players will be in a different kind of stage presence. So you will always have one lead. So that's the person kind of taking the lead, taking the spotlight in this moment, in this part of the performance. You will have, in a 4-player game, you'll have 2 players playing in the rhythm kind of role. So they'll be supporting the lead. And then you'll have one backup player who is kind of just holding things down in the background. The lead player will get 5 dice to assign to the various action spaces, the performance spaces. The rhythm players will get 3 dice to assign, and the backup player will get 1 dice to assign. And then every act that will advance. So the lead player will go from being the lead to being the backup. The backup will become the second rhythm, etc.
Nice.
The first rhythm will become lead. So there's going to be that cycle throughout the game. Once we set it up for the first act, that's going to be the order for the rest of the game. So there won't be any rejiggering anything. It's just going to kind of keep following that around. It will stay where it is at the end of this performance, and it'll pick right back up to that for the next performance.
Got it.
There are some... What's that?
Got it. No, this is cool.
Okay. Below that, we have noise and distortion trackers. So noise and distortion are kind of the bad things that happen as you don't roll well on your dice rolls. Those kind of track the things that are kind of going to be larger fictional things that are going to get in the way at the band. So those will come into play after the performance, but we track the ones that you earn during the performance. On the right-hand side, going down kind of clockwise around this thing, we have our performance points. We have a little first things first token already on the 0 spot because we start with 0 performance points, and hopefully throughout the performance we're going to earn enough to get up. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but hopefully we're going to get it all the way up here to the 4-player win condition of 20. I have to zoom in. 26, I think it is. Yeah, 26 performance point win. On the left-hand side, we have our sequence of play, so we'll kind of reference that as we go because it kind of keeps everything going. Kind of like your little player order cheat sheet thing that you might get in a board game. And then at the bottom is kind of the main event. This is where all of the dice gets placed to determine what types of things you're trying to do with your portion of the limelight that you're getting on the stage. So the easiest way to probably talk about these is just going in order from left to right. I do want to note one thing real quick. The performance space 1 and performance space 5, you'll notice that they are circles, and performance spaces 2, 3, and 4 are squares. What that's meant to remind, as a visual reminder of, is that performance spaces 2, 3, and 4 are group locations. So multiple people can place there, and all of those dice get added to the same dice pool and rolled as one pool. Performance spaces 1 and 5 are kind of personal areas. So if you add dice there, you're adding them to your own pool. It doesn't stop anyone else from adding, but each pool is rolled independently, if that makes sense.
It does.
Okay. So with that said, the first performance space 1, is called Improve Loyalty Die Type. Before we actually get started, we're going to lock in what your loyalty die is at the beginning of the performance. There are things that can happen that may cause your loyalty to shift during the performance, but your loyalty die doesn't change during the performance. We'll reassess where it's at after the performance, but for the whole performance, you're going to have the type of die that you start with. Cool?
Yep.
Awesome. So the first space you can go to is you can add dice there to your own personal pool to try to improve your loyalty die type. So by getting successes there, you will get better loyalty die types. The way pools work in this game, and you'll recognize the DNA of some other games here, probably. But the way that it works is when you roll a pool, you're going to be looking for the single lowest number in that pool. If you roll a 2 or a 3, that's a partial success. So you'll get, in this case, you would get a 1 loyalty die will improve by 1 level. So let's say your loyalty die is a D8. On your next roll, one of them is a D6, and the rest of them will all be D8s for a partial success. If your lowest die is a 1, that's a full success. On a full success, all of your loyalty dice for your next roll are improved by 1 level. So all of your D8s become D6s in the next act. Okay. We also have critical successes. If you roll more than 1 in your pool, so 2 1s or more, basically that's a critical success. So again, all pools are resolved that way as far as partial success, full success, critical success. But in this space, in the case of this space, a critical success allows you to improve your die by 2 levels for the next act. So your D8 can become a D4, or your D10 can become a D6. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay.
Nope. What's the first decision we need to make?
Well, let me go over the rest of the spaces. But so the performance space 2 allows you to improve the crowd intensity for the act that you're in. So we start the game, we start the performance. Everybody's kind of excited. They're excited to see this new band on stage that they've probably never seen before, or maybe they've seen them before later in the game. So we started excited, which is level 2 crowd intensity. You can improve that by putting dice here and rolling a success. A full success improves it by 1 level. Partial success doesn't improve it at all, but you do get some either renown or 2 performance points as kind of a something out of it, your partial success. And for a critical success, you can improve it by 2 levels, assuming that it's at 1. You can improve it to 3. Performance space 3 is where you actually earn your performance points. So for full success, you're going to earn performance points equal to double the current crowd intensity level. So in this case, you would earn 2. If you have a critical success, you get double the crowd intensity level, so you get 4. And if you get a partial success, you just get it doesn't improve. For a partial success, you earn. Excuse me. I feel like I've been talking too fast to try to rush this. Let me start over on that space.
You're good.
For a
We got
partial
you,
success, you get crowd intensity level. You get equal to the crowd intensity level. For a full success, you get double the crowd intensity level. And for a critical success, you get quadruple the crowd intensity level in
Nice.
performance points. Okay. So definitely pushing that crowd intensity up and then earning performance points is afterwards is a good thing to do. The third space is maintain crowd intensity. So yeah, I'm kind of going a little out of order here, but at the end of each act, and it's not like each song, it doesn't mean like one song. It could all be one big long medley. It could be a 15 song set, whatever. It's just kind of broken up into acts for, kind of thematic reasons. At the end of each act, the crowd starts to kind of get tired of the band. They're hearing the same thing unless you do something to maintain that crowd intensity. So that's what performance space 4 does. So on a partial success, you don't stop that from slipping by 1 level, but you do get that same either a renown or some performance points as kind of a little side prize, I guess, for at least getting a partial success. But on a full success, it stops it from slipping into the next act. You hold that like crowd intensity, and they're still super engaged, and they want to keep hearing what you're putting on display. And if you get a critical success, not only doesn't it weaken, it also improves going into the next act. Like you really get them jazzed up with what you're doing during the act. And then the 5th space is again an individual pool space, but what you're trying to do if you put dice there is you're trying to gain extra dice for the next act. So if you get a partial success, you're going to get 1 additional die of your type for your pool. A full success gets 2, and a critical success gets 4. Okay. The only time that changes is in Act 3 because you won't have any extra dice to go in. There's no Act 4 for you to use them.
Right.
So in that case, you'll get some things that'll be useful differently. We'll talk about that as you get add dice. Additionally, you can place a collaborate die in a performance space as long as you are not the lead. And the way that collaborate works is you're collaborating directly with whoever the lead is. So you can place a collaborate die. That's what these little side boxes are off of spaces 2, 3, and 4. That's where your collaborate dice will go, just to kind of set them apart as collaborate dice. So you can collaborate in any pool that has the lead dice in it, but doesn't already have any of your other dice in it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So if you're already working, like you've already thrown some dice in on performance points, you can't also collaborate on performance points because you're already doing that with your main dice. This is how you can get everybody other than the lead can get 1 extra die by collaborating. After, as part of the cleanup here, we're going to place flair, which you guys have already earned some, so you kind of got a little preview of what flair does. We're going to place flair in all of the action spaces that weren't chosen by anyone.
Oh, okay.
And then in future rounds, if you put a die there, the first person to put any dice there gets all the flair from that space. Okay. And then, so after we've placed all of our dice and we've placed any flair in any empty spaces, then we're going to resolve all of the performance spaces from left to right. So first we'll find out if anybody gets better loyalty dice for the next round. Then we'll find out if the crowd intensity changes. So note that happens before performance points happen. So it's possible that you start the act with crowd intensity of 1, but by the time you're earning performance points, somebody got a crit there in performance space 2, and now you're earning at crowd intensity 3 level. And then we see if it weakens, or if we can stop it from weakening. Then we see if anybody gets any extra dice for the next round, and then we weaken the crowd intensity unless somebody got a success. And then we go to the next performance act, unless it's Act 3, and then we check to see if we won the performance or not. Okay, then we go back to the beginning. We rotate our stage presence, so everybody's stage presence changes, and then some bios will have signature changes that they can do during the performance. So that's an optional step that we could do. Currently, nobody has any of their signature changes unlocked because nobody's leveled up yet, nobody's advanced. But once that happens, we may see that happen, and then we'll go back to placing collaborate dice. Collaborate dice gets placed starting with backup, so it goes left to right. So you place your dice left to right around the table until you're out of dice.
Oh.
All right. So the next big
I
question.
probably will as we play.
Yeah.
Sure. And
I'm
always,
sure that they'll come up.
Come back.
I think Greg has something to add. Probably something
Yeah,
forgot.
I would. Could you speak a little bit about exactly what the win conditions are for the performance so that everyone knows what they should be really focusing on?
Yes. Okay. So in order to, so when we get to that end of Act 3, check for win-loss step. So in order to be a successful performance, right, to consider to have won the performance, based on
win this battle of the bands.
Won the battle of the bands. In this case, for a 4-player game, you need to have accrued 26 performance points. Okay, and you need to have crowd intensity needs to be at board or higher. Okay, so if you're at crowd intensity of 1 and it weakens, you're done. Like they don't want to hear you anymore.
Someone fell asleep.
The band does that. Yeah, it's kind of the rock band meter. Just when you keep missing notes, and that's kind of that thing happening.
So just real quick, you saying that, I could hear that bonk sound that rock band would make when that bonk, 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 bonk. You can't get back onto it again.
Yeah. And then I could hear the like crowd like groaning when you
I missed that game.
Also, at the end, you will earn some renown based on whatever the final crowd intensity level was. So the more excited they are at the very end, the more renown you earn. If they end at board, you still win, right? But you don't get any renown. Like you renown is kind of that currency of like people are talking about the band, people are learning about the band. It is your overall, your local clout, your local renown as a band. But if it's excited or enthusiastic, you get 3 or 5 renown. So it is possible to really bank some renown in each performance as well.
Yeah, and if the performance ends and the audience is bored, then into the next performance we started a lower cloud intensity as well.
Yes, that is worth noting. If they're bored by the end of your first one, then word's gonna get around. You're not gonna be a super exciting band for your next performance. You're gonna start at a little bit of a deficit.
Okay.
All right, awesome. So all of that said, the first kind of decision that we need to decide is who's going to be where, who's going to be backup, who's going to be rhythm, who's going to be lead to start this thing. And then, at the same time, like that's going to be your order for the rest of the game as this cycle goes through. So
I don't know about the other 3 of you, but I feel like Lizzie's our lead. What does everybody else think?
What is Lizzie's loyalty die type?
A D6.
D6. What's everyone's loyalty die type, actually? Mine's a D8, by the way.
I'm a D6.
Good question. Yeah, we should note that down. I will note that down.
Yeah. Cool. And what is
Fabian's?
Fabian's, yeah.
You're on mute right now, Fabian.
Yeah, that's the chart on the side, right? D6.
Okay. So everyone's a D6 except for me, being
of course.
D8.
Any other way?
We all love this band.
True?
What's that?
Didn't Jake push Loyal up as your?
Oh, I
did you not
did.
push
Yeah, I'm in a
Loyal up?
D4. You're right.
Oh, see, that's worth knowing.
nice.
So, yeah, so we have to make a
So
consideration
remember, a
about
2
when
or
you
a
want
3
it.
is a partial success.
Right.
Right.
So you're going to have a much better chance
So
of
you
getting
only have a 1 in
successes.
4 chance of failing. So yeah, it's just a
Sweet.
matter of like how do you want to lead off with that? Do we want to set it up so that Jake is the third act lead, so you can really capitalize on
Oh,
trying
I
to get
love that idea. Yeah.
those
Yeah.
negative points at the end with your D4s, or
Yeah,
Yeah,
we probably
so
don't
that
want
would
you
put
as
me at
backup. Yeah, we don't want you as backup because you're never going to get to lead and use the 5 dice. At
right,
least not
so-
for this
so what-
performance. It won't
Right.
be until performance 2,
Right.
which will be a few sessions from now.
So if everybody's good with it, I'll take the second rhythm spot then.
Sure.
okay.
Cool.
Does that move? Everybody can see that move?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, that's a handsome character. Wow.
Awesome.
He's so cute.
So I'm not playing this game, obviously. Like, I'm not playing against you guys either. So take this all with a grain of salt. But I would say that following that logic, you might want Timothy as the backup because he's got the bad dice, and you never have to see 5 of them this
that's
time.
That's a great idea.
But he will be the first lead next time. So you want to make sure that
By then, we're going to have him in a
Hopefully he does
loyalty
something
die
awkward.
4, so I'm
yeah,
not worried about
we'll
that.
be okay. We'll be
That's
okay
right.
by then.
You'll have to convince me that the band's worth fighting for, so I have that D4 by next one. So yeah, why don't
Yep.
you put me into the last backup position since we don't have 5 players? Cool.
I'll take lead.
All right.
So both
So
Rob
it's between
so-
Fabian and
Lizzie, right? And Fabian and Lizzie both have D6s, so
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have a question though. Like when you say take the lead, does that require like lead vocals or is it just leading with the instrument that you're currently on?
no. Yeah,
It's like a
basically
starring, you have a
just-
starring role in the song.
Yeah, and look, it's all pretty abstracted, so we can kind of describe it in
Yeah.
any number of ways. It could be that, right? Like if that's how you want to kind of describe your
No,
get
I was just
up there and
wondering.
belt
Yeah.
out if you-
We could start
Or
out
we
with like a
can-
drum solo lead-in type thing.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, it could
Yeah,
be
I
you
look
get
at
the
the-
solo.
yeah.
It could be you get a cool groove, and everybody supports you, and you really like just start grooving on the bass once it's Jake's turn to be lead. You know, it's however you describe it is ultimately kind of where we're at with that.
For me
So basic-
personally, I look at it as the person who really, at that point in time of the performance, has the strongest presence on the stage because they're putting 5 dice here, which means that
Mhm.
they're going to overall, luck-wise, have the best shot at being able to succeed at what they want. And so I equate that for the person that's sort of getting
Yeah,
the
and
most,
again, you could-
it's pushing themselves the hardest and getting the most
Yep.
notice on the stage.
I would say how Lizzie's been reacting. Like I would offer to go up first to kind
that's a
of get it
great
going
idea.
and then lead her into her
Awesome.
vocals.
Love
Cool.
it.
Do it.
You're gonna ease her in,
Yes.
Cool.
And just so you guys know, by Act 3, when I've got
right?
the
And,
lead,
and again, it's
I'm
not to
tearing my
say
shirt
that like
off.
Come on, we're playing to find out.
And then I'm
Nice.
sorry, I forgot about
Uh,
issues.
do you
So
just
like my
token flip over, and we've got the like.
You were going to say something, Robert. Go ahead.
yeah, I forgot about how issues work. Like mine, I have one that says better when I'm around, worse when I'm not. Does that apply at all?
I think that had to do with the peer pressure we were getting, like people picking on us and stuff.
I don't
So-
remember.
So
Yeah.
mechanically, issues and obligations
That
will
sounds
not
right.
be coming into effect into the performance.
Okay,
They
sounds
may
good.
narratively when things happen due to how well we do.
Not during
so
the
you may,
performance.
but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, and Derek may choose to, as the booking agent, use them when he assigns noise and distortion.
Gotcha. All right.
Uh-oh.
So we've got our
I'm
order.
getting a lot of me.
What's that?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just getting a lot of in and out on you guys' audio, so I'm wondering if it's my connection.
Well, why don't you do this real quick, Derek? Just hit a refresh on your browser. You'll be gone for like
Okay,
a half a
on
second.
the
in the actual browser, like you're refreshing the page. Yep. You'll be gone for a second, then you'll be back.
And then we're
Good
gonna rock the fuck out.
That's right.
Let's do it!
Also, it looks like we accidentally gave Craig a slightly earlier version of this playmat, which doesn't have the descriptions of what the performance spaces are. So I apologize for that. But if you can't remember what they do, because you probably won't, because there are 5 of them, just ask Derek and I, and we'll remind you what each of those performance spaces do.
So, and let's do this real quick. So you can get a more up-to-date playmat than I have got. Let's quickly say where do we go to get our hands on this game?
So we have the game available on itch.io. So if you go to, because I can never remember the URL right off the top of my.
It's session1studios.itch.io.
All right, perfect.
Exactly.
And
that's one all spelled out. ONE.
Yep. The remind me, Greg, how many copies are we giving away for this episode?
Should we roll a die?
You want to roll a die?
Ooh, I think we should.
Are we rolling a D4 or D100 though?
Yeah, right. So I think Derek needs to roll it. How many copies are we going to give away for this episode, Derek? What die are we going to roll?
We have right now. I don't want to limit it just to the viewers here, but like let's base it a little more.
Oh, I've got an idea of how to distribute it. So yeah.
Okay. What do you think, Greg? D10? D12?
D12. Roll it.
Do it. I'll just feel bad if we get a 1.
That means people need to watch
That's what happens. Right. Roll it. Roll it.
I roll as soon as I find the right tab. Sorry.
Oh,
nice.
12 copies, baby. So here's what my thought is each week, the first person each week that's sends an email with episode 2 as the subject line gets a code for a free copy. How does that sound?
Well, I think you should also add Fabian is my favorite character too.
and in the body you have to say which band member is your favorite.
No, I say Fabian.
The subject line is episode 2, and then in the body, who's your favorite character? Just real quick, if are Greg or Derek or either of you in the chat?
I don't believe I am in the Twitch.
Okay,
chat.
go ahead and tell
Twitch,
me
right?
what's the email address? Where should they send the email?
The email address is info@session1studios.com, and spell that out. So it's session and then 1NONE studios.com.
All right, I've got it in there. So
all right,
for the next 12 weeks. So it's going to give all of you people time to be video on demand on the first one on a Sunday. So this one's going to be immediate. So the first one who sends an email while we're live is going to get a free copy. The other 11 are going to happen next week and the week after that. You guys will get keys there. All right, beautiful. Now let's talk about our first. So we got our first decision done. We've got our stage presence ready.
Awesome.
Yep. We have no signature changes that are unlocked, so we are on step 3.
Going straight to step
we're
3.
Start placing dice. So starting left to right.
It's me first.
Greg, you get to place your only die. Your only non-collaborate die.
That's right. I get 1d8 in order to place on this mat. So,
while he thinks, I do want to point out that the collaborate dice, if you do decide to do them, they work very much like the collaborate change does. So they will change your loyal, depending on whether they help or not. But again, it doesn't change your actual loyalty die during the performance.
Right.
Your loyal will shift, but your loyalty die is locked.
Right. So,
all right, Greg.
I think because it's 1d8. What's that?
It's only 1d8. Don't overthink it.
It is only 1d8. I think because it's only 1d8, I'm going to attempt to improve this for the next performance act. So because I'm only placing 1, place 3 there. So I'm going to place my 1d8 on performance space 1. So what I'm basically doing as we sit here and approach the stage is that I'm really giving the majority of that presence to everybody else in order to be able to try to grab that audience and make sure that they like us. And but I'm going to be sitting in the wings. And when I see that the right moment is there, in order to be able to shine, I'm going to be adding a keyboard riff like you wouldn't fucking believe. That's awesome.
So
Cool.
I'm up next with being Jake, Derek. So help me out here, Derek. I'm imagining as we're approaching the stage, Timothy's doing his bit. I am going to make a point to go to each of them, each of the other 3, and just say, do it just like we practiced. We've been killing it. This is long overdue. Like, I'm really trying to just hype everybody up and just say, you know, hey, we got this. And so if I'm trying to like build morale and really want to make just everybody feel better about what we're about to do, which space makes sense based on that that narrative?
I mean, you're trying to support other people. So it's probably, I would say, probably you're
Get up there.
through that. The hope is that they're going to perform better. So
Yes.
it's probably either earn performance points. So like you're starting that pool and like other people will add to it to just try to do well, or you're trying to hype them up to feed into the crowd intensity. That would be
I
my
think
guess.
performance points. I think I'm not quite focused on the crowd this time. So yeah. So if I want to, which space do I go to then for performance points?
That's going to be the third space, right in the middle.
Beautiful. So that's where I'm going to put my die.
Now you get 3 dice, and you can put them all there, or you can split them up any way that you want.
Let's do 2 towards performance, and then the third one to the crowd. So maybe, you know, at the last minute, I'm raising my arms up as we get on stage, and maybe I grab Timothy's hand in a very awkward way and raise it up like he's the champ. And
awesome. I like it. That's good.
So there are 2 crowd intensity spaces. One of them is to try to improve it, and the other one is to make sure it doesn't weaken once the first part of the act is over.
Yeah.
So performance space 2 is that trying to improve it. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what I got from your
excellent.
What you doing, Lizzie?
Lizzie, where do you think you're going to put your efforts in this first part of the?
Okay. I'm definitely not going to make a big splash coming in. I'm going to just kind of walk to the mic with my guitar. Nothing real big. I really want to like hype the crowd at the end. Like a slow build
like
kind
build
of
them
thing.
into the next.
Yeah. And I
So
want
that
to
would
dump
be- that
all
would be
3
excellent.
points into like hyping that shit, getting engagement.
So trying to stop it from falling, to keep them from
Yes.
getting bored. Yes.
Yep.
How many dice does she get?
She also gets 3 because
3.
she's also in the rhythm section.
Mhm. For the moment. Mhm.
The rhythm stage presence metaphorical section, not actually the rhythm section.
Yeah.
All right, and Fabian coming out.
Our
All right.
lead, starting with the drums.
How many do I get? How many dice? 5.
You get 5.
All right.
You get 5 dice.
So I don't know where their inspiration comes from, but as I walk out, you know, I want to get the crowd pumped. And so I'm doing the spinning of the drumsticks, throwing in the air, catch it behind my back, walking out, hitting them together as I go to the drums. And so I want to hype the crowd. I want to get the crowd intensity up. So I want to put 3 into that. And then I want to put 2 into performance points because I also want to start getting some performance points going.
Okay, perfect. So
3 for crowd intensity to raise it.
Play forever.
Yeah,
And
they're very slowly dragging across my screen. I don't know if that's me.
It's very dramatic that way.
yeah,
It is. I like it.
Yeah. All right. All right. So our lead now is in performance space 2 and performance space 3. So now we've placed all of our base dice, basically the ones that you get just for being in your performance or your stage presence kind of spot. So now we go back through, starting with Timothy, and he can choose to place one collaborate die if he'd like, in a space where the lead has placed and he has not himself placed, which is both spaces if he'd like. Either space, I guess I should say.
Cool. So I am definitely going to place a collaborate die. And by the way, for everyone watching, this will, when it's rectified, will shift my loyal in one direction or the other, which will then take place after this performance is over because I'm attempting to help the band. So from a mechanical point of view, we really need the performance points. If you look at that, we have to get to 26 in order to be able to have a shot at winning this thing. So mechanically, I'm going to throw my one collaborate die on performance space 3. And what that signifies is that when I see that our lead is really technically jamming and getting something done, that I am going to add to that as well. With a keyboard riff that's very similar at a number of places, that's going to give it some thickness, but just when I see that opening, just deviate a bit in order to be able to give it some more depth, to really make that song resonate within this place that probably doesn't necessarily have the best acoustics whatsoever. But I'm really trying to make sure that the crowd knows that we aren't just some band, we're actually really technically proficient band.
Yeah, the acoustics are not great. Like, there's also like a basketball court here that they use for like in the community center on the weekends. And
well, it's a good thing that my amp that has analog reverb in order to turn that on, in order to try the best that I can to simulate the fact that this hall is awesome.
All right, so next Jake would have the opportunity to place a collaborate die. Unfortunately, he already has dice in both of the play. He can't help the lead any more than he's already helping the lead in those spaces. So. But Lizzie could choose, if she'd like, to place a collaborate die in either performance space 2 or performance space 3.
Let's do 3.
Load up on 3.
Loading up. It's a good move.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
All right. And then the lead cannot collaborate with himself. So we are done placing dice. So the next step is to place flare. So you'll notice performance space 5 was not chosen. So
cool.
As an incentive to choose it in the future, it comes with a flare.
Nice.
If it doesn't get chosen again, another flare goes there. So they can pile up in a space if people continue to not choose it. And eventually you're just going to do it just for the flare.
Right. But they also carry over into future performances too. So if we don't do any by the end of this, they will be there for the next performance.
Nice.
Yeah, that's true. So they don't go away. If they'll still be on the board for next performance space if you don't take them.
And eventually it's just accumulated so much that someone will take it.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so now we're going to resolve the performance spaces. So starting with performance space 1, we have 1d8 from Timothy. Let's see if he is able to do a better job at being loyal.
Yeah, this is this is unlikely to happen. But
you already got your 1 on a d8 earlier.
It's 1, so I figured it wasn't going to help much in any of the other spaces, and if I can get it to be able to improve to a d6 for the next 2, then all good. So let's hope for 1, 2, or 3.
Let's see that experience, Timothy.
You got it. Oh,
so close.
I wasn't watching. I was looking at other things. What did you get?
A 4.
Cinco. Or no,
all right.
Wah, wah.
So that's a miss. Yeah. So on a miss.
Yeah.
Noise. you're gonna get a noise. Noise turns into distortion once you hit that peak level. That's what we tried to indicate. I can never find them. I got too many tabs open. I'm sorry, guys. So we're gonna get our first tick of noise.
Yep. So
I understand.
Does that go to the red? Okay, you got it.
Yep, goes on the blue. So, I mean,
Goes on the green.
Sorry.
So, Greg,
Yeah.
what did you try to do and how'd you miss? I gotta know.
I think I know that I had gotten myself way too amped up by what was going on, and I got ahead of myself, is what it comes down to. And so, even though I was trying to do something very clever with regards to my keyboard lines, it ended up, unfortunately, not being as cool as it should be with regards to a progressive band, and ended up sounding a little bit like I was ahead of the beat than things should be. And unfortunately, it's probably noticeable by the people in the crowd. So that just frustrated the heck out of me, and made it so that I'm discouraged with myself, and thus feeling not as great about things as I should be. So it definitely didn't improve my feeling of togetherness and oneness with the band. So my loyalty is staying the same as a semi-lowly D8.
Yep. Awesome. All right. So performance space 2. We have 4 dice there. 3 of them are D6s, and 1 of them is a D4. So
I'm gonna roll mine last, Robert.
All right, of course.
And we're looking for the lowest one in the pool.
It's technically all one pool, but you can
Yeah.
totally roll your own. It's fine.
All right. So,
all right,
we
so
got
far we
3,
have
4,
purple.
3.
I got a 3, so at least we have a some kind of success.
Partial success.
Oh,
Look at that. Look at that wine.
There you go.
Oh!
Clutch.
Ooh.
That's good.
So remind me,
For the win.
performance space 2, what's happening?
So performance phase 2 is increasing the crowd intensity level. So that was your whole like coming in with the drumsticks, amping up the crowd, trying to get people hyped. It worked. They really keyed into your energy. So a success is going to be up by 1 level, which you should see happen on the screen now. So crowd intensity 3.
So Robert, what I'm imagining
I'm
is
just gonna
Fabian,
move these
starts
as
the
we
beat
go,
going,
so that-
right, as we get out there, and at the last minute, I'm gonna get the crowd clapping.
yeah. Perfect.
That's great. So now the performance points are going to be worth more than they would have been if that didn't happen.
Beautiful.
Yep,
Yeah,
That's
for
great.
sure.
Fantastic.
exactly. We got a bunch of dice going into this one.
Yes, exactly.
So we're going to roll right into that. Pun intended, I guess. So here we have 2d4 from Jake. We have 2d6 from Fabian. We have 1d6 from Lizzie and 1d8 from Timothy. I'll just have you all roll all your own dice, and then we know that that Lizzie's and Timothy's are collaborate dice, so we will resolve those as collaborate dice at the end. It is worth mentioning, a couple of you do have flair. You can use that to decrease your number by 1 per flair span, including other people's dice, as long as you're part of that pool.
Can you decide that
All right.
after the roll?
After the roll. Yep.
All right.
Okay,
Beautiful. All right. So we got a
perfect.
3
very
and a 6 from Robert. Here
Yes,
comes
so
Jake.
far 3 is the lowest.
And then with D6 from me as well.
All right. And I gave
D6
us a 3 and a 4.
Another 3.
A lot of 3s. So
Lizzie gave us a
Got
3.
a 3.
What if Timothy comes through with
Come
this
on, Timothy.
crazy 1 on a D8?
Come on, Timothy. Ooh,
Oh, we
Now-
gotta figure out.
Yes.
We gotta
Success.
figure out the narrative on this.
You know,
I
Before
think
we
he
do that-
finally got into the beat.
Before we do that, hold on. I want to remind you, a couple of you have flair. So with 2 flair, you can turn a 3 into a 1,
then we get a critical
and
success.
now you have a crit.
I've only got 1 flare.
So you
which
can-
song
you can
is
move-
this? Who's lead on this song?
I mean, you
Go
guys,
ahead.
as it turns out, you guys came up with a set list of 3. So this is roses are red, but I feel blue. But yeah, so it would either Lizzie would have to spend 2 of her 3 flare to do it, or you guys could each spend 1 flare on the same die. You can use flare on any die in the pool other than a collaborate die.
So I'll spend 1 if you spend 1, Lizzie.
I'll spend 1.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Cool. All right, so let me remind you what that means. And if you want to roll it back and decide it's not worth it, you can, but I think you'll decide that it's worth it. So on action space 3, earn performance points. For a critical success, you're going to earn 4 times the crowd intensity, and the crowd intensity currently is 3. So
Nice. 12.
that gets
Yes.
12, almost half the way there.
Yeah, it's almost half the way
right
there.
off the bat.
So it was a good thing to do.
Yes. Yes.
Totally worth the flare.
So I say take
Well
it.
worth
I mean,
it.
you could keep but we still have an extra flare that we could use in the performance, and you can
No,
still use it in the
fine.
next preparation. So, but I
Let's forget
say
2 more. Yep.
go for it.
Sold. We're done. We did it.
All right, I'm going to move you
Yeah,
up this
done.
little. The way the numbers work on this is they kind of go up the stacks as you go. So you're already into the 5th column moving up. So you're almost to a 3-player win. Cool.
I'm sorry. So
Craig,
how does
how
it
do I
work? The
pan this
performance
thing?
points? Did they go left
So
to right and
actually,
then up to the
I'll
next
set-
level? Or?
So this is 0, and then this is 1, 2, 3,
Gotcha. Okay.
4.
Yeah.
So you're all the way in the 5th column. So you'll climb this column to the top and then start on the next column. If you want to be really fancy in the real game, we have these little cubes. Greg has these little cubes. He bought little almost like Terraforming Mars cubes, and you can actually fill them in as you're
cool.
building it up, like almost like an cube.
Yeah, you can take a look on my Twitter feed. I have a
So-
picture of the play mat on my profile page, and then you can see what it looks like with this on it. But anywho,
Craig, sorry, this is a technical question about the virtual tabletop. How do I get it to scroll in and out of a different focus? Like it's scrolling in and out of a point that's off to the right. How do I pan the thing on my
right
screen?
click and drag. Just try that. If that doesn't work, hold Alt and drag.
Okay. Right click and drag works.
Okay, beautiful.
I don't know. Cool. Thanks. Sorry.
Mhm.
Awesome. So that was these folks.
yep.
Okay.
All right, this is all you, Lizzie.
Let's talk about these collaborators.
Oh, we got to do
So Lizzie's die. Lizzie's die did not help,
Yes.
and Timothy's die did help. So,
Yeah, it helps create the critical success.
the way
right?
that works
Because
in
we
the
only had the
performance.
one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, her collaborate die didn't because Jake can't use his flare on her collaborate die.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So it was somebody else's die that made the other one. So
Okay. So what do I roll
collaborate die.
here?
So make sure that I do this right. So the collaborate die is any kind of a success, and also the lowest value in the pool, or help create a critical success. In the case of Timothy's die, you're going to shift your loyal to left, and then you're going to choose your own a stat of your choice to shift to the right. So think about that. Tell us which one you shift after you do so.
Who are
If
you
the collaborate
speaking
die
to?
is a fail, a 4+,
That's Lizzie, right?
after the player
No,
plays it.
Lizzie's collaborate die was a fail, so she has to. Her loyal shifts right.
Her loyal is going to shift right, so your loyal is going to get better.
Shift right. Okay.
It's going to shift right, but I get to choose which one shifts left.
Okay.
So I don't have your fully updated stat line.
I
but
can tell you where I
think,
am.
I'm not going to be mean, and try to move something that's at. Do you have anything that's at +2?
No.
Okay, so I can move whatever I want.
Yeah. You're the DM. Of course you can.
Well, if I moved something that's at the end, then I'm just
BA.
causing you don't get the shift, and then you get an obligation. So I don't want to do that. Like, that's just mean.
Okay.
What's your edge at?
+1. Please don't feel like you have to take it
What's your
easy on
smooth at?
somebody. Smooth, -1.
All right, I'm gonna move your edge. I think that's the one. I think this whole thing has been a really eye-opening thing for you
Big
about
softy.
these people are actually on your side. And even though Timothy's this like crazy like visual spectacle of a human being, and you don't necessarily jive with that extrovertedness, he is on your side. He is really being part of the band. So
That's really
all
sweet.
right, Timothy, which one did you choose to shift?
So my loyal is going to shift left to show that people are relying on the band a little, relying on me and the band a little bit too much, and therefore it's a little frustrating that I have to kind of pull them up. So in order to shift something right, I'm going to say that it's Spark in this case, because I think
that fits.
Yeah, this is generally indicates quick thinking on a character's part and digs into their innate talents, which I think would be the case here in the performance. However, I'm going to undo this shift as well with devotion.
You're going to
change devotion. Yes.
And I meant to say that, Lizzie, you do have that option. If you don't like the shift, you can undo it.
No, I like the shift. I like it.
Yeah, it's usually good to shift loyal, right? Usually.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. It seems like, not to like role play for you, but it sounds like based on what you narrated earlier, you kind of came in a little hot.
Yes.
And took a minute to like get in the groove, but then when you really did see that opportunity, you like really spiced up the performance in those perfect ways.
And what I love about that, Derek, is that fits who Timothy is, right? He's the most experienced. He's the one that's been on this stage more than any of us, so that totally works for me.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, even if it's only been the like 5 times with each of the 5 bands that fired him the one time before they fired him.
That's 4 times more than us.
On the stage 5 times.
Cool. Oh, go ahead. I don't think that there's an issue right now that I have that fits any of this quite right. So this might be a good time to create a new issue for me. Unless you feel otherwise.
Okay.
Because one of them, Christopher, is bothered. I mean, it could be. It depends on fictionally what you see happening. Remember, just to remind, issue 1 is that Christopher is bothering me to be associated with the band. So Christopher is here. So actually, I take it back, depending on what you think. That may be something an obligation that I have to deal with later. My father says I should get my grades up or I'll go to military school. And issue 3 is Lizzie's uncomfortable with my antics. So it is possible then that issue number 1 might actually work well.
If that's what you think fits, it can totally fit with the fiction.
Let's do it.
He's your self-appointed hype man. He's probably in the crowd going, "Yeah, that's my best friend."
That's right. Oh, it was probably him that caused me to screw up. So yeah, I got an obligation there now too. We'll deal with him after the performance.
Awesome. All right, and then fourthly, we're going to see if we can keep that crowd intensity up. So Lizzie, you've got 3d6 to try.
Carry us.
Keep that crowd pumped.
So 3d6, is that with anything?
No, just
Do I use a stat or is it just a straight roll?
Just a straight roll, yeah.
I'm
you
so
do have
scared.
some flair, I think, left over.
No.
You got a 3, that's a
partial.
Partial in this case, it's not. You're not going to maintain.
But no, I'm going to spend 2 of my flair.
You're going to spend 2 flair to make it a 1. You can do that. That's that, and it counts as a
Yeah.
1. So that's it. That's
Bring it to
a
a
full
1.
success. So that means that crowd intensity is not going to weaken at the end of the performance. You guys are going to go into the
Fantastic.
next performance ready, raring to go. Awesome. Or the next act, I should say.
Yeah, by the end of the song,
Awesome.
people are
That's
realizing,
the first
yeah,
act.
these guys are amateurs, but there's some real talent here.
They
And by
actually
the
have
end
a
of the-
little bit of talent.
Yeah, by the end of the song, they're like, oh shit, there's something going
People are
on
getting
here.
hyped. They're like, man, these.
Dang.
Just an aside, a personal aside. I don't know if you've ever seen. I forget the name of the group that does it, but there's this music school thing that puts out these videos of these like teenagers doing covers of like amazing covers of like really
Of like
hard technical
Tool and
songs.
stuff. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yes. And it's like, I don't know about you guys, but every time I watch those things, I just get goosebumps. I'm like, man, these kids are just gonna kill it when they like
So
fully
good.
run. That's what the crowd is feeling right now. Like they're like, holy crap, these kids are like awesome. So cool. All right. So as we said, weekend crowd intensity doesn't happen.
Beautiful.
Thanks to Lizzie. So we're going to commence the next performance act. So we're going into Act 2. So we're just going to move this down because it doesn't weaken. We're going to rotate everyone one step.
Don't forget to remove.
So Lizzie's sliding into
tokens off
that
of
lead
performance.
role. She's warmed up a little. She's maybe a little less. What's that?
Don't forget to remove the tokens off performance space for.
What'd you say?
They're off.
Oh, I don't see.
I thought I did.
No, they're off.
Oh, they're showing on my screen. Interesting.
Give it a quick refresh.
Cool. Sorry about that, Derek. They'll probably be there when I refresh, or not be there. Yep. How about that? That's weird.
All right, so that's the first step, advanced stage presence. And now we're going to perform signature changes. Again, first performance, nobody's got an improvement to do that, so we're gonna skip that. And then we're gonna go back to placing base dice. So this time we're starting with Fabian. Fabian, you have 1 die. It's a D6, and you get to choose.
And this is Mercy,
any
right?
of those
That's what
areas.
we decided the song was.
Mercy.
It's got to be the slow,
we said
right?
the second
Start
song
off
was
with, like intense song.
It's
slow
not really
song.
slow, but it's got some emotion to it. But it's not like slow, and it's got a gorgeous piano opening that leads into like a bass. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go space 1 for the loyalty die.
Now does Lizzie switch over and play that while you're gonna try to improve your loyalty dice?
Yeah, and I'm gonna say what I'm doing. If I'm incorrectly placing this, let me know. But
Quick
basically, okay, so basically what I'm doing is during the performance as she's doing her singing and stuff, there's a part to where have like a drum thing and it's just me. So I'm actually gonna slowly just stop it. So she's just performing herself to try to give her some confidence of how well she can sing.
Very nice.
Nice. Yeah, no, I think that's great. Yeah, so these the circle ones at the end, they're very internal, right? Like they're you focusing on yourself and your future performance. So that is a good way for you to let her do that. And you're showing your loyalty, you're focusing on you're giving up some of yourself for the betterment of the band. So that definitely represents that very well.
Okay.
Real quick, I want to go back to your description fictionally of this song. You're going into this like slower, maybe more of a ballad ish.
Maybe more of a power ballad.
Piano? Like, is this where
it's not really?
You play?
No, this is gonna be Timothy
Power,
playing.
fine.
But it's
Sure,
it
but is it like
it's
you
like
switch to
upbeat.
piano because you're like classically trained in piano, right?
That's true.
Well, but Timothy's our piano player, so
Yeah. I want Timothy
But
to
he's
do
also
it.
like your DJ and like he does like. Okay, that's cool.
It
was
does
just a
kind
question.
of have some like
Awesome.
electronic undertones, like low pulses kind of vibes through it. So if you wanted to switch to like electronic stuff. I don't know what that's called either. And I'll sit down at the piano.
So,
I understand piano. I understand singing. That's what you get. That's what I
not drums
do.
and gang.
IRL.
cool.
Okay.
Look,
If you want to do
you know,
that,
in
I'll
that
switch to
big,
the
huge,
piano.
All
really
good.
old RPG that everybody plays, nobody actually knows what an orc looks like. Like, we just make it up. So
Or
it's the same thing here. We don't need to know. We don't need to be musicians to play musicians, right? Like, we don't also need to like.
Which
be
is
a
why I
half
was
orc
saying
to-
the switch to the things that make those noises.
with the
And
clicks and the
then-
Yeah,
clacks.
exactly.
Yeah, with the buttons
that's
and
up
the
to you. It's-
spins. And I'll
That's-
sit down at the piano.
Drum machine, maybe. I don't know.
You guys as a band, you don't have to answer this question. It's not important mechanically, but I thought it was an interesting fictional.
It's great.
Yeah, yeah. I can hear it in my head.
All right, we got Timothy. You got 3 die this time, Timothy. What are you going to do?
Yeah, let's put them on performance space 4 because right at this point, the crowd is really, really hyped for what we did. It's going to be tough in order to be able to keep them at that level, but I'm going to do my damn best to be able to engage them. So
You want all 3 of them there?
yeah, let's put all 3 on performance space 4.
And
All right.
remind me what 5 does?
It goes for
5
additional
gets you more
dice.
dice. If you roll successes, you get extra dice.
4 Act 3.
Yep.
So Jake right now, loving how we finished the first song, really digging how we're kind of sliding into the second song. I'm going to pull back a little bit and I'm going to save whatever little talent I have and definitely all my energy to blow it out when I'm the lead in the third one. So I'm going to put all 3 of my die on 5.
I like it.
Ooh.
No guts, no glory.
Intriguing. You pick up the flare.
And I add a flare, right?
Yep.
You
get
do.
the flare. You can add that to your sheet.
Got it.
All right. All right, Lizzie, you get 5 dice.
Okay, and I cannot put them where I cannot collaborate, correct?
So you're the lead, so you can't collaborate. The collaborate happens in the second round. So you can
Oh,
put them
got it,
wherever
got
you
it.
want. It's that people have to collaborate with you. They have to put their collaborate die where your dice are, and where they don't already have dice.
Okay. So I'm going to explain it narratively and maybe you can help me figure out where to put it. And I am going to kind of like sit down at the piano and readjust myself and the mic and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going to like launch into this like crazy classical piano kind of opening. Before I turn it into the actual song that we're playing. So I want to hit it hard right at the beginning and then pick up everybody else to keep it coming through.
The old Guns N' Roses use your illusion play.
Yeah.
Ye
And it's
olde.
like, well, I also see it kind of as
yeah.
like a meeting of the worlds.
Yep.
You know, it's like both things that she loves. She loves being on the stage with her friends. She loves playing piano as well. So it's really just this kind of meeting of both sides of her life where she feels at home.
So where do you
Awesome.
think that
I
fits,
mean,
Derek?
Hard.
it sounds like
I want to get
mean,
performance
look,
points.
anything can be justified. but it
Anything
sounds
can be
like performance
justified, so
points.
then
It sounds like
definitely-
you're really trying to like
Yeah.
keep wowing
I want to
the
launch
crowd.
real
This is
hard
something
into
you're trying to do,
performance
right? Like,
points and the crowd. I think that's important too. Maybe like one with the crowd and then the other.
so the crowd is already
with that.
so you want
The
to put
crowd's-
4 in
Yeah.
earn performance points, and then you want to put. So the crowd is already maxed out. Like you can't amp them up anymore pre-earning performance points, but
Okay.
you could try to maintain it into
Yeah,
the next.
maybe one on
act.
maintain.
Throw it one
if you
over,
wanna put
1
one
to
there.
4. Maybe.
Yeah.
If
Let's
that
do
makes sense.
one
point.
on maintaining it. And then 4 into performance point.
Okay, so you're gonna go jump in there
Because
with
it's going to be more
Timothy on
technical,
that.
I believe. Performance points.
Yeah. Because you can maintain that in any number of ways, right? Like
Yeah.
the bands can maintain that by like shouting, getting people to like join in and sing along and shout back and forth with the mic, and like how the call and response thing. They can do it through just being awesome musicians and sucking people in. There's plenty of ways that you can keep the crowd amped up. So awesome.
You keep them up.
All right, now we go back through
awesome
for
on the
collaborate
floor.
dice, starting with Fabian. Would you like to?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm gonna go ahead and put them in. I believe it's spot 3 for performance points, and basically,
You only get one.
You want to earn? You want to help earn?
yeah, and
Uh-oh.
basically that's
Losing?
assisting
We lost.
assisting Lizzie. So like when she hits it hard, that's when I'll start coming in hard with the drums also.
Perfect.
You like come in with the ride symbol and like.
Yeah, just kind of be
Just
slow,
like
and then when
just
she
enough.
starts doing it, then
Awesome.
just do. Red, blue, blue, green. That's what we'll do.
Right. Cool. Timothy, would you like to collaborate? That would be your only option for a spot.
I'm going to
Because you're
pass
already in
on
the
that
spot.
for this act. I think both mechanically and narratively that the rest of my bandmates got this covered. And I want to stay focused on keeping the crowd happy and not potentially mess up how I feel about the band. So I'm going to keep things as is.
Awesome. Cool. And then Jake, did you want to?
I do.
Throw down a
PS4 is the maintain the die, right? Maintain the intensity.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, that's where I want to put my collab.
Yep, it's true. Okay. There we go. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to put some flair on space 2.
That's nice.
So it's nice that you guys didn't need to use it. Now next time, if
Yeah,
you do need
someone
to
will
use it, you can
most
put it.
likely pick it up. Cool. All righty.
Fabian.
All right. Awesome.
All right, so
let's go ahead and start with all. So Fabian, let's see how well you. Yep.
Boom.
That's a 1.
Oh.
Awesome. So that
That's
means your whole
fantastic.
pool is going to be D4s next round. So next round you're going to get 3 D4.
Yep.
instead of 3
That's-
D6.
And that's only the next round, correct?
Correct.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but it's great. I mean, it gives us
Only
so
the
many
next round.
options to be able to bring it home.
Right.
Yep.
Now, does my loyalty or
Nobody
anything shift at all,
for
or?
crowd intensity can recognize. Not there. Nope. No.
Okay.
We'll see
That
what
was on
happens
a
here
show.
in action space performance space 3.
Got it.
So performance space 3, we're going to have 46 and 1d6 from 46 from Lizzie and 1d6 from Fabian.
Yep.
Let's do it. There's a
That's
2.
a partial.
Oh, I suck.
Come in, Fabian, with a 1.
All right, here we go.
Come on.
Come on.
All
2.
right, we got our 2. Good.
Oh, you got your 2. All right.
I don't have any more flair.
With a partial success. And I don't think Fabian has any flares.
Take it.
No, I don't have any flare
I
yet.
keep trying to put Flair and Fabian together, and your name is not Flavian.
Yeah.
Does Lizzie
All
have
right.
any flair?
Hey,
Flarevian.
in certain groups it is, but we won't talk about that.
I'm out.
So for a partial success, you're going to equal the crowd. You're going to earn 3. This crowd intensity is 3. You earn equal to. So you're going to go from 12 to 15.
Right.
Yes.
Doesn't Lizzie have
Getting there.
flair?
More than
Oh,
halfway
sorry.
there.
Okay.
I have
My
a
bad.
question.
Spent it all.
I'm sorry. So my loyalty dice increase, that's for the next round, or does that apply now?
Go ahead.
Sorry?
Next round. Next act.
Next round. Okay.
So now it's for the next act. Yeah. So now your collaborate die is tied for the lowest in the pool.
Okay.
So it does not help.
Okay.
Say again, Greg?
It does not help then. Because
Yeah,
it's a
so it
tie.
doesn't help. It strictly has to be better.
Yep.
Gotcha.
It actually has to help. So your loyal is going to shift to the right.
Alrighty.
And then let me look at what I think your sheet might look like.
Yeah, I got smooth at +1, edge at 0, loyal and I'm sorry, spark is -1, and keen is -2.
I think I'm going to push your spark down by 1.
Alrighty.
Now you can undo that shift by invoking devotion if you'd like by marking it off.
But that also cancels out the shift for loyal, right?
Yes, it cancels out the whole shift. Yep.
Nah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Cool. All right. So that's action phase 3. Action phase 4. We have.
So did we talk about whether
3D8.
Lizzie has any flair that she wanted to spend in order to improve that?
I've used it
Oh, you don't have
Yeah.
any. My
for a
bad.
critical.
No.
Yeah, I used it for a
Oh.
critical
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was like, I'm
No,
sorry
it's
it was
okay.
there. That would have been awesome.
He's all right.
That's all right. We'll be able to get there. How many?
Yeah,
How many performance points do we need? It's gonna be
Yeah, you'll get there.
we got it. We got it. We're awesome.
You're gonna have at least 10
Do we have to get?
no, you have at least 8 d4 next round between Fabian and
Yeah. So
Jake. And statistically speaking, Jake will probably have more than 5 dice given where he put his dice. So
Anyway,
I guess
sorry.
probably going to be okay. Okay, so let's see. Timothy adds 3d8 to this pool. Uh-oh. Oh, he's back. Timothy adds 3d8. Lizzie adds 1d6. And Jake is going to add a 1d4 to this pool. So we get to see how we keep crowd intensity. There's a success with that 1d6. See if it gets better. Getting better is.
Oh, there
hard
you
to
go,
use,
Greg.
Yeah, I knew it. But hey, but Lizzie took care of things. So
Get it out of the way now. All right.
So I didn't help.
So you did not help. So, but it is a full success.
That's
So
awesome.
crowd intensity again will not weaken after this round. You guys are milking this crowd. You got them eating out of the palm of your hand. So
It's great that we haven't incurred
Jake,
any more
your
noise. That's for sure.
die was not successful. So your loyal is going to shift to the
Yeah.
right. Is your loyal all the way at the right?
Mine is. Yeah, my loyal's already
It
all
is?
the way to the right. Yeah.
So technically, I would pick something that should shift to the left, but because nothing can shift, it kind of doesn't matter. You're simply going to mark an ob here because you're at the end. You can't be any more loyal. So you're going to feel that.
You can't be any more loyal.
You feel like you're pushing yourself way too hard here. So you're gonna mark an obligation. I think it probably would have been like Spark that moved left, but it can't. So we're just gonna mark that obligation. I suspect it's going to have to do with, I don't know, it could be a new issue even. Like
That's what I'm wondering too. It's either Tim cares the least about the band, or a new one. I'm
Let's
open
make
to
a
a
new
new
one.
one.
So
Yeah.
we got some cool new narrative things to do once we're done with the performance.
Yeah, this
and
sounds-
the Timothy caring least doesn't seem to fit quite here, I don't
I
think,
agree.
because he's been contributing, and so for the purpose of kind of keeping things moving, if you want to mull that over and we can add in after the performance is done, I'm fine with that.
I'll think about it.
But if you have one in mind, you can just go for it.
Nope, we'll come back to it.
Okay. Just making myself a note so that we don't forget.
Got our first character with 4
Okay, cool.
issues.
What's that?
We got our first character with 4 issues, I think.
Yep, that's me.
That's good.
Yep.
All right. All right, Jake. So now you've been really trying to like
I have 5.
amp yourself up so that you can really make the most of this next portion of the performance where you're going to kind of like show off, or whatever, however you phrase that. So let's see how that goes. 3D4.
All right.
One, 2, 4. All right, that's a success.
Beautiful.
So
Partial, right?
on a regular success, let's go. You are going to gain 2 extra dice for the next act.
Beautiful.
So instead of getting 5, you're going to get 7.
What?
Wasn't it a partial success?
I got a 1.
You got a 1.
Oh, did you
Yeah,
get a
one.
1 and I didn't see it? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. What you can always do, Greg, is
Yeah,
click the little detail on the bottom left.
Oh, okay. My bad.
All good.
Yep.
Yeah, I
So
got
you're
a
going
2,
to
1,
get
and
2
a
extra
4.
dice. So let's roll right into that. Move these off.
Act 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to advance the stage presence. Jake is moving into the lead. He's got some funky bass line he's been working on or something.
When I was showing you
Easy
guys
drops
the
the
set
back
list, I was
up.
really hoping you wouldn't change number 3, and you didn't. Fabian, what do you think? What do you think that we haven't come up with a final? We haven't finalized the name of the third song. So the first song was "Roses Are Red, But I Feel Blue." Second song was "Mercy." What's the title of the third song?
I think the title for the third song should be "I Don't Care."
I didn't even see that earlier. He wasn't here for that bit.
This is it.
I
We
think
got to
it was
bring it
called,
home.
I think the other, the other working title was "It Doesn't Matter to Me," right? Or something like that.
which he basically just
Doesn't
did,
matter
which
to
is
me.
awesome.
Oh, that's what it was. It doesn't matter.
See, we're in sync as a band. Look at that.
That's NSY.
Hopefully you're not the band in sync.
I don't care.
All right. We still have no signature changes, so placing base dice, starting with Lizzie. Lizzie, where would you like to place your D6?
Oh, I'm.
It is worth noting.
Right
Okay. Real quick, because the action space 1 and action space 3, there's no act coming up. They change in the third act. They do something different for a success. If you're at all interested in those. Instead, in Act 3, for action space 1, for a full success, you get to shift your loyal right and another stat of your choice to the left. So you get to kind of perform your own loyal shift to make yourself more loyal. On a partial success, you can earn a renown or a couple performance points at your choice. And on a critical success, you get both of those things. And then for action space 5, on a full success, you get to take -1 hold. You get to take -1 forward, so you get to earn a hold. So on some future roll, you get to take -1 to it. And then on a partial success, you get either 1 renown or 2 performance points at your choice. And then a critical success, again, you get both of those things. So those are your options for the ends of the tracks. That's how they change in the final act of the performance.
All right. I want to bring mine in right at the very end. Hit the end hard. I'm gonna try and keep the crowd going.
How did that set up? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So does our
Fabian.
crowd intensity go down to down one to the third act, but we don't lose intensity, right?
Didn't you guys get a success on that one?
We did.
Yeah, we did. We got a success on that.
Yep.
Oh,
sorry.
Intensity stays
I
the
didn't.
same,
I
right?
didn't. I didn't move up. To
Yeah,
the third
that's what I
act.
mean.
see
Yeah,
what
we
you
go to Act 3, but we don't go down one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
Fabian, 3
No, no.
dice.
Yep. All right.
And these are D4
Right.
this round.
Right.
So I mean, performance,
Nice.
right?
Yeah, we need 11 performance
I
points
mean,
in
you
order
guys
to
do
be
need
able
some
to
more
win
performance
this.
points.
Yeah. Let's put them.
Oh
Let's put them
shit!
into
No.
performance.
Does that mean I can change mine?
Up to
You can
I
if you
got
want.
rolling agent.
I've got
You
extra
need
dice.
11
They're
to
all
hit.
going to
You
performance.
need 11 to win.
Can I change mine and put it in performance points?
I don't mind if you want to do that. That's fine.
Yes, I
The
definitely.
board state
want to
hasn't
do that.
changed.
Okay.
I will remind you that getting enough points and having a high crowd intensity will get you more renown. Just throwing that out there.
Right.
All
Okay.
right. You want me to? Do you
All
feel
right,
confident,
Fabian.
Craig, with the dice you have that you can get that 11 points? And I'll go
I'm
into
feeling it.
the.
Because
All right.
I'm the lead, plus I've got 3 extra die, I think, or 2 extra die. I'm
Right.
rolling all D4s.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
gonna
2 extra dice.
So
you'll
I'll,
get
I'll
7 dice.
put. Yeah, I'll put my 3 then to keep crowd intensity.
Okay,
we have to get a crit, right, Derek?
done. You need a crit to get 12 points. You'll get 12 points for a crit.
All
Yeah,
right.
we need 12. So
I'm rolling like 75 die.
if only
Yeah.
it was 75. But you do have the D4s, which are good.
It's
You're getting-
statistically impossible for you to not get a crit, right?
We've seen it go.
Say it all
south
out loud right now.
before.
There's no way I would roll all 4s.
You've seen it. How many dice are you rolling again, Craig? I'm sorry.
Stop it.
I'm a
Stop it.
Is it +2 or +3, Derek?
Don't tempt the dice cuts.
Plus 2.
Yeah, I'm a +2, plus I
It's
get
plus
what?
2 plus the 5, so you're rolling 7, right?
Yeah.
And you don't get to tell me because you come after me where you're actually going to put those dice.
Nah.
I get 3, right? And to collaborate. Okay, I am going to place one of my dice on performance space 2 so I can pick up that flare, and the other 2 on performance space 3.
I almost was going to mention that, and I figured, you know what? I'll let him figure it out.
I don't know the game.
We got this.
You should have told me. Cool. So yeah, this is the final act.
All right, so
I can see that it is within our grasp that we are going to be able to beat these other lamers that are going to come after me. I don't really know for sure, right? We've never seen any of these other people perform, but I'm feeling really strong about how it is that we're doing. So I'm going to split my performance here in between technical proficiency and a tiny bit of getting the crowd excited. So there you go.
Yeah.
And to be clear,
And if you get a partial on that one,
Yep.
Sorry, I think there might be a bit of a delay, and
yeah, you're
let me try
delayed.
refreshing
You're
again.
fine, Derek. We got it. Go.
I'm on the 30-second delay in case I
That's
say
right.
something bad. You can bleep it
'cause
out.
we know how you go.
I was just gonna say, on a partial success on action space 2, you can choose the extra performance points if you
Yeah.
think you need them.
Yeah, so it's worthwhile to throw a die there. Okay, cool. So I'm set. It's up to our lead.
All right, Jake, you got
You know where they're all going, baby.
7 dice.
Come on, Jake.
You put
Come on.
It's going all
all
in.
7?
All going to performance, baby. We're gonna get the mega crit.
Yeah,
Come
baby.
on. Come
Throwing
on.
everything on that one
Come
roulette
on.
space.
Oh, please.
Put it all on black.
Yeah, basically, I figured out that the next 2 acts are all a bunch of white guys doing a cappella, and I know we've got this.
We totally nail it.
Like middle-aged accountants.
Exactly. Bunch of actuaries.
I think that's 7.
We know
Yeah.
it's 7.
We know it's 7.
Ah!
It is. All right.
Oh
So
my god.
Lizzie, you are already participating in that space, so you can't collaborate there.
Okay.
Same thing for Timothy when it comes around to him.
Yep.
But Fabian could collaborate if he'd like.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna do it.
Do it.
Go bigger. Go bigger.
Do it.
I don't know. Do we want to do it in 2 or 3?
3.
3?
You can
3.
only do it in 3 because
You can only do it with the
3.
leads.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. 3.
All right.
Oh my god.
okay.
Blair.
So let's roll through it. Let me do this. For the next performance, these will be waiting for you
Yep.
to pick up. All right, Timothy, let's do this D8. Let's see what you can do.
Come on.
Timmy.
Noise.
No.
No,
No. Stop.
No problem. It's fine.
it's just fictional
I'm gonna look
consequences.
back at him
can't
like,
break-
what are you doing?
You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. So, we'll have a little bit of drama to deal with when this is over.
All right. So this pool is crazy. It's 7d4 from Jake. It's 1d6 from Lizzie. It's 2d8 from Timothy and 1d4 from Fabian.
We got to see
So if you
Timothy's
guys both
first.
do it.
hit this, that's something special.
Go, Timmy.
I mean, okay.
All right.
Ah!
Oh,
All right. I'm going to go. Here we go.
That was the collab.
3.
Oh, Lizzie.
I'm gonna go next.
All
Oh.
to me. 7
Oh, you.
D4.
They're D4s. D4 is good.
Come on.
Yeah, I got the crit.
There it
I
is.
see at least
There it
one.
is.
I see 2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, a 4, a
I see
1,
2 ones in there.
2 3s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 2 1s. You pulled it out.
Yes.
Nice.
All right.
Thank you, Dice Gods.
We needed it. We got it.
No. We did it.
Still see what happens with the crowd intensity.
Oh my god.
But we're looking good.
My anxiety is like, ah!
Your anxiety or Lizzie's anxiety? Or both?
Yes.
All
I
right.
actually think Lizzie's having a pretty great time at this point. But Amy's losing her shit.
So I have been practicing this third song, and like as the song's progressing, you're hearing like, oh, Craig's like, or Jake's kind of like, okay. And like I'm slowly moving towards the front of our
like-
little crappy stage.
I look really impressed. Like really impressed.
And I've been looking forward to this. Like if I can do what I've been practicing, this will finally show Lizzie that I've been listening, show Timothy that like this is the right band, Fabian that I like actually can keep a beat now. Like
All right.
Everything's paying off. Everything's coming up, Jake.
everything's coming together.
All right. So last thing we have to do is that collaborate die was a fail, or was not helpful.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
not
it was
helpful.
also a fail. No, it wasn't a fail,
But it didn't help.
it
Pretty
was
close.
a fail, which is
So that takes my loyal one right.
you didn't collaborate there. That was
No, that was me.
Oh,
Yeah. All right.
Fabian's done.
okay.
Yeah, you were just
My bad.
using your
portion of the spotlight.
Yeah.
So
So Fabian,
Fabian,
your loyal is going to shift to the right.
I can't. I'm already at -3.
All right, so you're gonna mark an obligation as well. Let's see. Does it fit with an existing obligation easily, or are we gonna have you make a new one too?
We could blame Timothy some more.
I mean, if you can figure out a way for your character to think that's Timothy's fault, then part of your, that's fine.
Yeah, Timothy got
sure, everybody-
so excited that he started jumping up and down and threw his jacket on stage and was like,
I wouldn't do that. Tell me
All
what my
right.
character would do, man.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because ultimately it was a success, right?
Right.
It's-
Oh, okay.
It was totally, it was a smashing critical success.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have one.
All right, so we'll work
We'll
on.
just come back to it.
Mark that you'll need one as well.
So a new
We'll
issue.
do that after. A new issue, yeah.
All right. New issue there.
With an mark.
With the mark, gotcha.
Again, these are good. In the long run, they're good to have. All right, cool. And then the last thing we'll do is let's see if we can maintain that crowd intensity to earn maximum renown on top of this.
So basically, at the end, I've seen like a lot of shows and stuff, and it kind of inspired me. So I do my end drum riff, and then at the end, when I'm done, I throw my sticks into the crowd.
Love it.
Nice. All right, let's see the roll.
30
3d
people.
for
Mm.
partial. So a partial isn't going to do it. It's not going to maintain crowd intensity. However, you can choose to either gain 1 renown or 2 performance points. You don't need the performance points, so I'm going to nudge you towards the renown.
Take the
Okay.
1 extra renown.
Yep. Cool. So they're not quite chanting for an encore, but
Yeah, it started to go really well until I hit the popular girl in the forehead.
Hit
So,
someone. Yeah.
maybe that or you like hit one of the judges.
Nice.
yeah, there you go. That'll work.
Don't hit the judges.
Yeah. All right, awesome. So that's our performance. We are all done with the performance. The last things that we'll need to do to wrap this up is basically I'll get to make a couple of changes because of the noise that you earned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Let me go through this. We're checking for win-loss. So you did win. You made 1 more performance point than you needed. So you blew it out of the water. People were impressed. You set a really high bar. Maybe there were some other people that are close. They could have won this thing, but they got rattled, or like I said, you just kicked this thing off.
I'm sure Christopher helped.
So, yeah, Christopher totally helped.
Good hype man.
And he will let you know about it specifically as much as he can, Timothy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking
okay.
of Christopher when I said Timothy, so I'm sorry.
No worries.
Oh, Christopher.
Christopher,
Yes, you could
Christopher
totally
and Timothy are
have-
basically the same person. That's how close they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure we look
Everybody
exactly
knows
alike.
that.
Not.
Okay, so crowd intensity ended at excited. So you guys get 3
Yay.
renown for that. So
Plus the 1 that we got at the very final.
the one that he got from the partial success.
And then
So if you'd gotten a full success, it would have been 5 instead of 3. So you got half as many for the partial. 4 instead of 3 total.
and then we got some renown in the preparation, right?
And you got 2, I think, renown in the prepreparation.
Yeah.
So you guys are
Yeah.
We're about
moving right through.
The third there.
Rushing it.
We need to be.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
once we're announced as the winners, I'm first gonna go running up to Jake and like throw my arms around him in a big hug. And then when we back up, I'm gonna look at you awkwardly for a couple of moments.
So awkward right now.
Too long. And then I'm gonna like very quickly turn away and hug Fabian and Timothy and Christopher.
Awesome. Yeah, so it'll be a little while because
No problem.
you'll have to wait through all the other bands before that can happen.
It's
right?
true.
But yes, I think that's great. We can do kind of a montage of some of the other bands. I have an idea here of a noise I think I want to hit you with, but I'm not 100% sure.
How are we looking on time, Craig?
Oh yeah,
So-
good question.
Yeah, so two things. One, Derek, I need to know the band that got second place. What's their name?
That's what I'm leaning towards for your noise hit here. I just want to see, do I really want to go down this path?
So the
Yes.
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 Rivalry.
So the other band
Rocks.
is. I'm gonna crowdsource with you guys what we think the band name might be because I don't know that I have an idea for that. But the other band is another band of kids from your high school. And the leader of this band is also the drum major for the marching band. And basically the new girlfriend of Jason has been recruited as their lead singer and the like hot chick to kind of like give their band some support. So some of those folks, the guys that like mess with you, the football,
What's her name?
Yeah.
jocks, not Robert specifically, but some of the other jocks were also here, causing some trouble, trying to like keep people from getting too hyped about you, but support them. So I think they're going to be kind of a rival band for you guys that are trying to do what you're doing, but not quite as well, obviously, because you won and they didn't.
And just so you know, I've already got their name.
Is it Dumpster?
Well, no. The name,
Jason
the
and the
name,
Jocks.
what's key is the name and then how it's spelled. So these dumb jocks, they call themselves Great Beats, and it's spelled GR the number 8 BEETZ. Great Beats.
That's pretty good. I was going along the same. Jocks aren't too smart, and they name themselves the Posers.
Yeah, they're very poser.
So just to be clear, the jocks aren't really in the band.
Right, but it's the jock
Girlfriend.
band.
Yeah.
What's the girlfriend's name? Jason's girlfriend, who's the lead singer of the band.
Let's go with Kelsey.
Ooh, good
Kelsey.
one. Good name.
Well, that's one blast of noise.
All right,
Okay.
so we're gonna go to credits. On the other side of credits, we're gonna do stars and wishes.
Ah.
Does that sound
Cool.
good? All right.
Yay! I like that a lot. And I think once we figured it out a little bit, it started going a
I
little bit
agree.
more. I think
Hopefully
the
you're
next
looking
one will
forward
be
to the second
easier.
one.
I am.
All right, so we are back. Boy, that was cool. We covered a lot, rules wise and stuff, but let's go through everybody's stars and wishes. So, Derek, you're the BA, so you decide who you want to hear from first.
Oh, let's see. I hate making decisions.
Roll a
Roll a
dice.
dice. D4.
Let's go in stage presence order. Let's
Oh, that's pretty good.
let's start with Lizzie. Let's hear from you first.
Lizzie. My star this evening goes to our booking agent who had to explain all those rules to us and make them make sense.
Well,
That's a
thank
lot.
you.
And you did it well. And I followed along, which is better than I normally do. So that's great. Stars to you for that. Wishes. I wish my kitty would stay here with me all the time. But I really wish to see kind of some more like personal interaction. Like I love the scenes.
Yep.
It's like seeing it as
Uh-huh.
like a movie and all of these things are happening, and I like that a lot, and I look forward to putting more of those together.
And you will have a lot of scenes between this performance and the next performance. So
Cool.
the first preparation is abbreviated, kind of for this, quick start, but you'll get a number of scenes so to explore
Many more.
all the kind of stuff you want.
No, I think that's fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing it develop more and more.
Awesome. So next in that order is Fabian.
I think I'm going to throw a star at Lizzie. I thought it was pretty funny when she turned around and gave the hug and then realized, oops. So then she just kind of gave it to everybody else to try to cover it up, even though it was totally awkward and you can tell that's exactly what she was doing.
No
So
one
that
was
was pretty
fooled.
good.
I was like, no, Jake's totally not
Yeah,
my
yeah,
favorite.
yeah.
I love all of you guys equally.
So yeah, that
Even
that one
bringing in
stuck out to me.
Christopher. Come on.
Wishes. I don't think I really have any outstanding wishes because you already said like there's going to be more scenes. The first one is abbreviated, so that'll give us more time to grow characters. And I'm still a little confused on the issues and how to get those done and out of the way. Because like I'm going to have 6 issues now.
That's a lot of issues.
Yeah, so
Well, real life, right?
issues by themselves are not a problem. It's going to be obligations that are going to be the issue. So the thing that becomes a problem. So issues are just kind of category, empty boxes that you can hold obligations in.
Kindling.
Okay.
It's the obligations that become heavy to carry around. So
Gotcha. Okay.
awesome. Timothy, you're next.
My star also goes to Lizzie / Amy. I really think it was great that you ran with Timothy and how he was being a little bit jerky. It was all for the band, is what it comes down to. But it was great that you ran with it. So my wish is that we really get to explore our relationship more, because I like that caused an obligation between the two of us. And I'm looking forward to doing scenes with you in the next preparation to see whether our relationship gets better or worse in the short term, and then how we eventually resolve that so that Timothy as a person can improve. So that's one wish that I have. The other wish that I have is to really lean into what the aftermath is of this performance. I love the fact that we have a rival band that now is on our tail, and I'm really looking forward to having scenes that explore exactly what form that is going to take and how many problems that gives us as we attempt to kickstart this fledgling career that, though, is starting out in a good place. So can't wait to see what they're like.
Yay.
For sure.
Awesome. All right, Jake, our most recent lead.
Woo!
Yeah, So stars for me is pretty easy because obviously I've read the game several times, studied the game, but this is a game that you have to play. You can't just read, which are ultimately I'm finding out now are my favorite types of games, which you don't capture what the game is doing until it happens. And my big concern reading this was that we'd be switching out of characters and playing a board game. Because it's very mechanical, right? This piece of it. And what I loved, and this is really a credit to the five of us, is we enjoyed the mechanics, but I visualized the entire performance during that process. And that makes me really happy. So even though we were moving cubes and tokens and rolling dice and taking the lowest and picking up flair, all of those things, which as a board gamer I love, the fact that it didn't take me out of the fact that the four of us were on stage performing and us making narrative sense of why we put our die here versus there, and then what failures meant and how the collab worked or not. So that's my star, is the fact that it's still go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, it didn't break immersion at all. And that really amazed me. I was like, wow, okay.
That surprised me, and that was definitely my star. Wishes. I wish to see, obviously, we've seen a lot of Jake and Timothy. We've seen a lot of Jake and Lizzie. Those are relationships that I think are super interesting, and I want to explore them more with these scenes. But I also want to see all of us interacting with Fabian some more. So Fabian has been kind of the quiet one, kind of the rock steady here. And I think it'll be interesting to see how that develops through it. So that's what I'm wishing for, is more scenes, just like everybody else. But I'm really interested to see how the relationships form with Fabian.
You do.
Awesome. Yes, I agree with everything everyone has said so far. It's all been awesome. I think I'm gonna give 2 stars if I can.
No, that's cheating.
It's against the rules.
Whatever I want.
So
I think it was really cool that you guys took the opportunity and you really ran with that last scene. I think it was the last scene before the performance, to the point where you guys were just using the mechanics of the game to their absolute fullest, like to the point that you're triggering each other's key changes in the same moment. Like, I think that was really cool. I loved to see that, and that's the kind of thing that we hoped would happen. I mean, maybe not that exactly. I obviously not that exact thing, but like, I do love to see that happening, and that's what we wanted to see through our design. And then I also need to give a star to Craig / Jake at the end of the performance, just saying, "Don't worry, I got this," and then doing it. Like, he's the one who made it happen all by himself. Like none of those other dice mattered at the end. He
I don't need to
put it on his shoulders and then made good.
And I got the awkward hug that I really needed.
That was the real
I can
win.
see the movie scene between us where I come like running up, like hug, and then like
yeah. I feel like
it's great narrative stuff for next time. Really,
it really focuses in on that to the point where like the background is kind of obscured or faded out, and then suddenly like the like focus shifts and it shows like these dozens of other people around kind of watching you in this elongated like very personal hug in the middle of like a crowd of people.
All right, that's fantastic. So guys, in order to make sure you catch episode 3, we got a lot of scenes to go through. You don't want to miss it. Make sure that you're following, like, subscribe, the whole thing. You can see the schedule on the Twitter account. You can see the schedule on the Facebook account. You can see the schedule by looking on the YouTube and subscribing. That's how you can keep track of all of this. Don't forget info@session1.com. That's how you get your chance to get your freebie. I probably have already gotten it claimed for those watching live, but for the next 11 weeks, on Sunday morning when you wake up, get your email in, put episode 2 in the subject line so you can get your free copy of Limelight. First off, Amy and Robert, love you guys. So great to be able to play with you. Greg and
Appreciate it.
Derek, we're having fun. You made a nice little game here.
Wow.
It is.
It's
I'm
fun.
surprised. You know, like you said, reading it, you're kind of like, but when you played it, it's cool. It's fun.
It is
Yeah.
very cool.
It's a lot of
We
fun.
appreciate it. Thank you so much for the kind words.
All right,
Yes,
cheers.
thank you.
Talk soon. Thank
Have
you
a
guys.
great night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.